for this gunfight, and he catches Mikey looking the other way. That's a quad kill from Bry. Flies up the stairs. His teammate should be able to trade this. It's just an Getting into 3K with an and he's got the stubby out. He gets 4. What in God's green earth just happened?
There's Reedsync goes into the default plant by Tetris. No more C4 anymore from the Malusi, so he's gonna have to go drive, and he gets both. What? Both these attackers rather low. There it is, but Twizzler was actually picked up in time. 12 seconds left. Vivid still needs this 4th kill. There it is through the wall.
Yasher's just getting the bomb down. He doesn't care, but the impact downs him. They have to go for these kills. With 3 seconds left, Silent lands the pre-fire. Nobody can kill him in time. The ace from Silent. The 1v3, 2 for Mystic now. And we're at 4-3, almost tied up.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our last 2-0 game. Actually, now that I think about it, S2 versus RealityTV. John, I'm so glad that you could be here with me today so that we can gatekeep yet another Mr. B game from all of the T3 casters.
Yeah, definitely good to have you up here as well. I believe you talked about this earlier. You've done every single reality TV game on broadcast for SCS.
I am
glad I could join here as well and get to talk with Lachlan a little bit as well, because I haven't been able to see him since, I believe, the Challenger League playoffs as well. So definitely good to have him back, at least by my side. So like you mentioned, we can gatekeep him some more.
Exactly. I love that guy. But if we want to talk about what happened yesterday, John, you casted the first best of 3. Unfortunately, we had to say bye to one of those teams. Why don't you bring me through that one?
Yeah, unfortunately, like his Empire, were not able to close out either match successfully against Investigation File, but for a good reason. Investigation File did a boatload of improvement. When I got the chance to interview Inrio more specifically, he talked about how they were able to communicate a lot better, have more effective timing when it came into coordinating multiple different types of attacks on Bank, and overall, that led them to a very straightforward 7-2 win on map 1, and then it was a lot closer on Chalet, don't get me wrong, but that same adaptation and that same improvement was the major make or break against Lycus Empire. That, and of course, Candle R6 whiffing in a 5-on-5, and Say, to be fair though, Wimpy did that as well the round before, but of course Wimpy's failure at securing that entry wasn't as impactful in comparison to Candle's loss of life and making it that 5-on-4 in round 7-7.
And moving on to the second game, Luminosity Gaming versus OXG, the other 2-0 game, we unfortunately saw Luminosity, you know, they were keeping up with OXG when it came to Bank, but OXG were just that little bit better, kind of overall, especially with their backbone, right? Both teams had some star performances, I think, from Eddie and Asian on one side, Newers and Sweater on the other, but it was the rest of those 5 that really made it happen on Bank. And then moving on to Chalet, LG simply outclassed by the new operator. We saw probably, you know, of course with Solus being banned first map, I think it's safe to say that we saw perfect Solus play, or pretty damn close to it, from especially from Foxa here. You can see it right now on the replay, being able to spot the planter from below, not getting cleared out. Easy, excuse me, I almost choked on my own saliva. Easy denial there, and then doing it literally like the next round. And then that was not great either. So we want to show the bracket, and we can get a little update from yesterday. OXG confirmed for playoffs. Lycus Empire eliminated. 2 more teams will join them, either S2 or RealityTV, up to playoffs. And later, after this, it'll be EQV4 versus Collegiate Connoisseurs to see who the next team saying goodbye is.
Yeah, definitely interested to see how exactly, the map bans are going to turn out for this best 3 that we're doing today of S2 versus RealityTV, because so far for S2, they've only gone default maps. We saw them play Oregon against Parabellum. They were lights out in the second half, winning every single attacking round they played. And then they went to Villa, where they kept it 3-3 on both halves against Vipers, which I'm not too shocked about. And then in overtime, they just outclassed Vipers a little bit more. So definitely interested to see if, maybe if RTV did a little bit more info, if they want to maybe not go too many default maps, just to, make S2 uncomfortable in a new environment.
And I know RealityTV are a team that don't necessarily like to do that to begin with, right? They ban Oregon, Clubhouse all the time. They don't like those default maps because they equalize a Mr. B. If you know you're better than a team, you don't want to level the playing field. As you can see, both these teams winning their previous 2 games. RealityTV beating Astralis 7-5 on Border. That was a hell of a game. And Vipers coming very close, bringing it to overtime, but S2 eking out the win. I have to say, I think Reality TV have looked stronger, but we definitely can't count S2 out.
Yeah, for sure. And again, if you are allowed to go maps that you are comfortable with, and knowing at least how a couple people play on the side of Reality TV, having that past experience back in the old T3 days, it's not going to be completely impossible, but the playing field definitely looks to be favoring RTV, just again, based on flat out experience. And as though the fact that both games have been very close for RTV, they are against tougher competitors, it seems.
And if we want to look at who Reality TV is, we know them. We love them. Tristan, Giddy, Hat, Mr. B, and Valor. Valor and Hat, of course, being the two most recent additions after losing Gavini and Packer. An average 1.09 rating across the whole squad. Carried a lot by Tristan. Let's be real. He has a, what was it, a 1.6 or something? Yeah, he's at a 1.61 rating right now. So a lot of that rating is going to be him, and he's our highlight player for that very reason. Plus 19 in the KD differential. The map against Astralis going, I think, 19-6, 5-2 on entry, 75% cost. On that Iano Wamai, he plays a lot of those entry ops, but he's not a big, like, entry player. He'll take map control, but I think Tristan's real strength is towards that mid round.
Absolutely. That is where he found a majority of his kills, especially on border. And funny enough, if he went 0-0 on border, he still would have had a neutral rating with his kills, just based on how well he also did on bank against investigation file. That is just absolutely absurd. But yeah, and that's also been because of a major change up in playstyle for Reality TV. They are a lot less focused on getting that early entry kill to set the tempo in the right way. They're looking to take a step back, be a bit more methodical, taking their time in terms of gathering info and spotting out those small weaknesses that their opponents are having, and then that's what they play off of. So even if they don't get the opening gunfight immediately, they're still prepared to find that weakness and just try to find a way to capitalize on it somehow, with everyone backing them up and not just one specific player on the entry.
And I think that's a big strength of Reality TV that we've seen both in this new iteration of the roster and the old roster. Even if they don't get that entry frag, even if they get an entry death, they're almost always going to immediately trade that out and make sure, you know, they're not losing any sort of advantage. However, on the flip side, S2, I think, are a very entry-centric team, if I can kind of mash the words together, and mainly on the back of Reverse, but of course there's also Wi-Fi helping him there, Biologic and Amp with that support squad, and BJL, who's typically playing those flex operators. 1.05 average rating, so not terribly far behind Reality TV at all. And S2, I think we're definitely a sleeper pick. We all expected that, you know, OXG, Astralis, PB, Reality TV, all the Pro League teams, the CL teams to do really well, but S2 are in T3. They qualified for the league through our open quals, and they've been running through actually both T1 and 2 teams that they've played.
And in terms of capitalization as well, I want to go back into Oregon once again. 4 attacking round wins in a row against Parabellum. That is just flat out impressive. And the way they secured that was if they saw Parabellum maybe extending a little bit more, trying to look for that kill to confirm before they want to bunker back up into the bomb site, they would be able to isolate that one defender, confirm that as a kill. So now they have a 5-on-4, and just playing for trades and isolating defenders that don't have anyone close towards them to try to set up some sort of crossfire when that execute eventually happens. Interested to see if RTV are going to maybe try to take a step back, not be too aggressive on their defensive side, and of course play a bit more structured, having those crossfires, having that coordination, because they did do that against Astralis on border. There were a lot of people trying to double up, trying to force out people, you know, over by Fountain and offices, for example. So I could imagine we see that a bit done by RTV today, but S2, interested to see if they can adapt around that as well.
And we want to hone in on our 2 highlight players, Tristan and Reverse. I think we're going to see a very interesting difference between them. So Tristan, you know, a little bit higher in the rating, but all things considered, right? Similar rating, similar KDs. Reverse, a lot more entry engagements. Tristan's at 7, Reverse is at 11. And keep in mind, they've played 2 games. They've played the same amount of rounds, both 24 rounds in total. Cost, you know, also very comparable, but it's the survival rate that I think is going to be really important and kind of accentuates the traits that we were just talking about. S2, very entry-centric. Reverse is the first in the building. He's looking for those opening picks. When he's on defense, he's in a very forward position, kind of on sentry turret mode. And he was really hard for both PB and Vipers to clear out. And I noticed if S2 don't get an early handle on the situation, they kind of struggle. And even if they lose Reverse in a 1-for-1 trade or a 2-for-1 trade, that backbone is able to clean up the round. on the flip side with Reality TV, Tristan, he's 33 and 14. He's getting all these kills, but he still survives in almost half the rounds. And it goes to the point that you were saying, they're a lot less focused with that immediate entry pick. Even if they end up losing that entry, all 5 players on this roster are so good in the mid to late round. I think that trait and that dynamic between these two teams is actually going to carry Reality TV to victory, because it's not going to matter how good S2's entry is. Reality TV are going to be able to fight back that entry, and even if they lose it, that experience in that mid to late round is going to end up winning them a lot of these rounds.
Yeah, pure stagnation could be a huge issue with how, I guess, reactive Reverse likes to be, or how proactive he likes to be during the early round. I believe we have the map bans ready as well to go take a quick little look at as well to see where exactly we're going in that best of 3. We talked about earlier Reality TV and their lack of preference towards those default maps. Funny enough, you mentioned Oregon and Clubhouse specifically. I can remember all the way back in Challenger League Stage 1 how they lost to, I believe it was Karn's team on Clubhouse.
On Oregon.
The very last playday. No, that was the beginning of Stage 2. Stage 1, they lost on Clubhouse to Karn and Co. And
they
then
lost
at the
them
beginning
twice.
of Stage 2, exactly. That's the correlation I'm trying to get at. Is that Reality TV just flat out on default maps could allow their opponents to take full advantage of them there. But when I did talk to Mr. B, he did mention a little bit that they're kind of just going with the flow today in map bans. They weren't thinking about it too much. So I guess just last second they figured, you know what, we don't even want to bother with Oregon. That might give S2 some sort of advantage.
I think they also don't want to bring S2 to Oregon, because that's where S2 throttled Parabellum and where Reverse's best game was. I mean, if we want to go back to the stats to just that first game, Reverse went 18-9. Very similar to how Tristan trounced Astralis. So, more similarities between these two star players. Theme Park and Villa being the last 2 bans means Sky is our decider. So very happy about the Skyscraper, John, I have to say. However, if you remember our 2 games from yesterday, they were both played on Chalet and Bank.
Yeah, that is once again, the term I used earlier. Stagnation definitely seems to be there once again.
So sad.
Yeah. Reality TV, they aren't unfamiliar with Chalet, but it's definitely not one of their top maps in their overall pool. Bank, however, is, so it does make sense that they want to go there. Again, it gives you a lot of opportunities to rework kills. You take a look at, a top to bottom defense that you tend to hold on Bank. Let's say you have to fall off the roam earlier, you lose someone in that opening gunfight. You could just rework yourself back up, marble or gold stairs, catch somebody by surprise with 2 tunnel vision on getting that vertical down, and all of a sudden, you've got a 4v4. You wasted that same amount of default time, maybe broke some extra drones as well, and they just fall back into sight for a bunker setup on CCTV. It's not that big of a concern, and that is the whole name of the game of RTV, is just working kills in the mid to late round. That's what they've always been good at.
And their most recent performance on Chalet too, we have to go all the way back to Challenger League. They actually didn't play it at all during the normal season, and then brought it out in the grand finals as map 1 against Aerial Arise, and they struck really early with, I think it was a 7-4 win. 7-4. They won 4 defenses on Chalet and then went 3-2 on their attack. So they know how to play Chalet. They don't play it often, but it's one that they like to keep in their back pocket. And again, I mean, full confidence, right? S2, big underdogs. They've really impressed so far. They beat Parabellum. They ended up beating Vipers in overtime. I can't put into words just how much S2 have come into SCS and how good they've been and how unexpected it's been that they're one of these top 4 2-0 teams. Now, one of 2 remaining 2-0 teams. But I just don't think they lose to Reality. Like, Reality TV were just too good. I mean, they went through SI quals without dropping a single map, of course, because it's a best of 1. And then they go into best of 3s. They win 2-0 against LG. And then they take a map off Mirage and keep it close in the other 2 maps that Mirage won. And Mirage went to a freaking major.
It was it was a whole load of improvement by Mirage, to put it bluntly. They were not the older Mirage from stage 1 and 2 of NAL. They really became a proper team. Yeah, everyone is a fairly consistent gunner on that team, despite certain ratings here and there. So it was definitely good to see them improve, and it did make sense that they kept it close against Reality TV, a team that is also just filled with good gunners, funny enough.
I know too, Mr. B was not happy about his personal performance in that game as well. Maybe it's something we can poke his brain about more come the actual match, or I guess after the actual match, should they win. But I do like Chalet. The thing I'm again, we know Reality TV is good on it, but I do like S2's chances on this too, because we know how entry-centric they are, and Chalet is a pretty small map. It's really easy to get a foothold into the building a lot of times, and I'm looking to Reality TV to really bolster up their offsite presence, right? Like if they're defending Master or Bar, put a lot of stock into places like Library and Piano and stuff like that. If they're in Basement, have that full tier roam. Make sure that S2 aren't going to get any free map control. I mean, hell, we see sometimes on Dining too, Reality TV will push themselves right into Piano. They'll push themselves into Office too. I just don't think they're going to be able to give S2 free ground without getting punished by someone like Reverse or Wi-Fi.
Going back to S2 as well, there are just so many external angles you can hold on Chalet where you can really set up that entry game almost for free, depending on how you want to start that initial roam clear if RealityTV are looking to have a more roam-centric style of play. But unfortunately, with a couple lobby issues, we are going to have to go in a quick little break. And once that concludes, we'll be back here for map number 1 between RTV and S2. We'll be right back.
Pollard's on a double though, and he finds a third through the smoke. It's just an ult. Getting into 3K with an ult.
With 3 seconds left, Silent lands the pre-fire. Nobody can kill him in time.
He clutches it out! What a play from the Alibi as the lobby player goes unchecked.
We're back. Sorry about the break. Players deciding to take 2 years to get in the lobby, but we have all 10, so we'll be starting shortly. Back to the game, RealityTV versus S2. And John, we just saw Reverse is already Diamond with the new rank changes where you, like, it takes
Start
forever
at
to rank
Copper
up.
5 or whatever
That guy's
bottom rank it is
Reverse,
now.
get a job. Please. Oh, I know he's also in school, too. I don't know how he does it.
Just get a hobby. That's my favorite line to use when someone's better than me at the game. I tell them to get a better hobby. Or actually, no, I think it's the other way around. Anyways, yeah, just insane that the dude is already Diamond. But more civilly, getting into the map just shortly. Operator bans. I don't know if we're gonna actually see a Solus being removed.
Nah, Mr. B is gonna be on that Solus all day. I guarantee. I think if anyone's gonna ban it, I think it's gonna be S2. I think RealityTV might be able to make better use of it. I mean, hey, though, Bio's a good IGL. Maybe Bio on the Solus is also going to hit different. Go ahead and look at the community poll, and of course, it's going to be in the favor of the Challenger League winners and SI Open Qual runners-up. We can get into that operator ban biz that you were just talking about. So, I interviewed, I think it was Newers, right? He said he thinks it's now, the big 4 bans are going to be Valkyrie, Azami, Mira, Solus. And you're going to have usually some combination of those 4 with maybe a Cade mixed in there somewhere. Nook being the first attacker ban is not strange at all. I mean, it's Nook. We all know why she gets banned. Second one, definitely more up for grabs. It could be Thatcher. It could be any of the hard breachers, maybe even a Flores, but it's Dokkaebi. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, definitely looking to potentially hard counter someone on the side of our TV. I do know they bring out the Dokkaebi from time to time, but the Azami ban, that is definitely a little more normal. And yeah, so far, no Solus, and RealityTV might look to just leave it up. I really hope they do. Yes! All right. Really hoping that RealityTV can brew together some sort of magic spell to have Solus really be potent on this map. And again, especially if you're a team that's very focused on information, that's an immediate hard counter, like especially with droning in general. That is probably why Investigation File banned her religiously yesterday, because they are very focused on gathering that info in the early to mid round to then allow that coordination to really thrive. So it does make sense they banned her a lot yesterday.
Yeah, I'm very glad that we're still seeing the Solus here, and it's going to be played instantly, but not missed by Mr. B. Mr. B's going to sit on that Frost. Instead, it's Giddy, who also definitely has shot calling capability. He's an incredibly experienced player. He played with, IF. He's played at the top of Challenger League. He's one of the most consistent in Challenger League, and he has been really since his entry there. So big fan of Giddy on this Solus. It looks like he'll be playing below. He's already trying to drone hunt. He gets one outside. Wait, okay, the overlay says they only have 2 drones left. Is that true? Because sometimes it's wrong.
Well,
no,
it says...
Okay. You know what I think it is? I think when an attacker repicks, it, like, bugs out.
Yeah, because only Bio's missing a drone, and now the number's correct.
Yeah.
So that would most likely be it. Another new Rainbow Six bug. I will try to act surprised as much as I can. Well, starting out here for our TV, at least Giddy's able to break another drone, and at least hear audibly that there is someone starting over on the library side of the map, and even detects the IQ on their scanner as well. Both people detecting one another. A funny, I guess, connection between both ways of gadgets. So now they know Giddy is stuck in stock as well. Interesting to see if S2 are looking to maybe deal with that first point of contact to force Giddy away, and it seems like he's already fallen up before a drone even technically locates him.
All the way down in the basement he'll sit. Still able to see some of those drones. S2 make their way into the building, knowing that library is clear. They'll turn their sights to Piano, where most of those roamers are hiding in and around. Tristan sitting right by that black wall. He's got a shield as well. Hat on the castle will be looking to work those long angles with the 1.5 and the UMP, with Mr. B as well having a shield in this closet. So all pretty default positions. I like the angle from Giddy. Almost lands the headshot there onto Wi-Fi. Maybe Ash counting her lucky stars that she's still alive as she continues to work these windows. Claymores on both to ensure that these defenders will not be running out anytime soon. The attackers also have to be wary of their feet. Frost being played, and no rappel lines available on these windows means you'll have to look down to shoot these Frost mats.
And S2 still taking a load of time as well to at least just set up these common angles. I don't even think they've began to open up that office wall just yet, but finally, someone's trying to get active. Tristan in a bit of a pinch here, stuck around this deployable shield, but so far, as long as he can just continue to waste more and more time, it shouldn't be a problem, even if he dies.
And die he will, but Wi-Fi, there it is, traded back by that bear trap. Another kill comes the way of S2 as Giddy gets technically the first kill for his team on Biologic, shutting down the Buck, and the only player capable of really efficient vertical play. Amp the next to fall. Mr. B's looking for the cleanup, but no, lingers far too long. Reverse will pounce on him, and even though there's 2 players down, they can be picked up. Wi-Fi gets finished off from below by Valor. Amp is still on the ground. Now Giddy's going to try and work his way up, but he's caught by Reverse, who's just staring at the flank. That leaves Valor alone. Amp now rezzed, and this is a great spot for S2. They have the vertical coverage. They only have a couple breaching charges. They can't do a whole lot with that vertical play, but they can probably just blitz this site and force man count. Gas canister really well timed, deals damage to BJL, but Valor, his shot's blocked by the vent in the ceiling.
And S2
That
starting
sucks.
out with yeah, that is rather unfortunate. S2 starting out though with a rather strong attack for that top floor extension, making sure that RealityTV were not being put in a good position to work any of those trades that we've talked about pretty heavily for the side of RTV. They're able to isolate Tristan, cross coordinate by having someone on both the highway balcony, hopping in through the bathroom window despite them getting frostbitten, while also having 2 people push in from the piano side of the map. Once that threat is gone, they then try to focus on Mr. B, and sure, he does down 2 people, one with his gun and the other one with the frost mat, but because he wasn't able to clean up, that forced the rest of RTV to start working back up above. S2 anticipating that, they shut it down, revive back some of their players, so they still keep the man advantage, looking to execute, so it didn't matter that they were short on time because they just had enough bodies to get the job done.
Yeah, that's you also got to feel for Valor there with the I don't know if he would have won the round had he connected the shots, but Amp was only 1 HP and every bullet got eaten up by that solid metal vent. That's definitely a feels bad moment for him. RealityTV now opting to go bar instead, and they'll drop Solus too. This is, I think, the okay site that you don't really need Solus for, considering everything's just going to be around this library area. Focuses more on projectiles than it does everywhere else. Solus, I think, is not necessarily a must, but definitely really helpful on Dining and Master. I think we're going to see less play on Bar and Basement.
Just so much utility you would like to bring when extending a bit closer towards library, you know, blue/mezzanine. It just isn't normally enough to justify bringing out the Solus when you can probably expect the 3 main areas of attack that S2 are going to do in the first minute or 2 of the action phase. And speaking of which, that first point of contact over by the library balcony, Hat is just sitting quite comfortably towards that hatch drop and is just waiting for the utility to start coming out here, more specifically by Reverse with that grenade. The second it's tossed out, he falls back down below. So a pretty default start. And yeah, despite that grenade being so close to the Aruni, no damage dealt.
Interesting.
Could say that.
But you know, he lives to fight another day. He'll put himself on the bottom blue. Still players upstairs that S2 have to worry about. They start hard reaching him, but BJL's just in the hallway, and he's not going to get away with that. Hat shuts him down, but Mr. B is downed in return. So it's not unanswered. And the Wamai is pretty easy prey now for the attackers walking in, especially as Amp cleans up Tristan, who is trying to hold up top blue, but Valor retaking in, finds one onto Reverse, ends up falling to the player on the office balcony. More shots being sent out from Giddy up those hatches, trying to get this man advantage back in their favor, but Valor gets finished off. There's no immediate trade available for RealityTV, so they'll sit on site in this 2v3.
And they have so much utility to make space as well. A whole 60 seconds to have 5 stuns and gather more info with those regular drones, and even a Terror drone still available too. So long as they're just in the right place to set up and execute, this shouldn't be too challenging of a position to, at the very least, just push away RealityTV and maybe get the site for free.
Hat corners himself off in coat check, trying to hold blue stairs and hold Giddy's cross as he takes a little bit of damage from the players in lobby. This shot from Biologic allows the Malusi to continue to persist, but in comes the other attacker, closing him off in bar stock, leaving Hat alone and again stuck in coat check. He's got 1 kill to his name, but as he walks out, he'll be finished by Wi-Fi, holding on to the long hallway, and S2 with their 2nd attack in a row.
And that was exactly it. The information didn't even take a lot of time to set up those drones as well. The moment that they spotted there was just 1 player stuck inside of stockroom. Everybody drops down all at the same time. They force down the only anchor that's left for the bomb site. And once someone ends up dying to Hat, who's over by Mudroom, they just hold a crossfire, playing a little bit closer towards the bottom end of that 45-degree angle. That way he cannot retake the site while that plant is going down. A very well-structured attacking execute by S2. And also at the very beginning of that round, despite losing BJL from that gamble play a bit closer towards 45, everyone else was still able to time that top floor clear correctly and just, again, isolate those 2 defenders that were on the top floor. They down Mr. B, so it's only that person over by blue perhaps. And again, someone trying to retake from that fireplace stairs, which S2 was also anticipating.
And despite what I said about Solus in the last round, RealityTV will pick her up. I think seeing how much info S2 had at their disposal, they need some way to counter it and figure that Solus is going to be the best way to do so. Definitely can't disagree with the change. Maybe Amazi or Mute could also suffice, but Solus is just, you know, really, really powerful as of right now. Giddy trying to prep the barricade so he can run out and get the drone outside, because any bit of info you can deny from the attack could end up winning you the round, especially a drone off of Wi-Fi, one of those entries. That could be very important.
Seems like there was at least 1 drone deployed in the basement floor, so maybe S2 can look to have someone lurk around in that part of the map to try to hunt down Giddy if you can eliminate that Solus, or just make sure that they can't break a lot of info at your disposal. You could probably see a very similar execute to what S2 had last round, and yeah, the second they acknowledge the threat of Giddy, they just start hunting him down. I really can't fault them for that, as if they can isolate this poor sap, then they're going to have a lot more utility to work with overall and have a player advantage for when it comes time to, at the very least, clear out that top floor.
Giddy just pinged something. He pinged, I think, a drone and someone on their cams for the defense. Unfortunately, it's nothing that the defense can really act off of as of this moment. But S2, despite Asalas being on the board, you know, both the first round and this round, they've been doing a really good job of gathering a lot of info while keeping their drones alive. Of course, that also has sent them the fact that RealityTV aren't pushing terribly far off of site, which, with the exception of Giddy, but it's nice to see a team with really good drone economy, and we can see just how much that matters heading into the late stages of the rounds with these recent attacks from S2. The nades already coming out and clearing the blue shield under halfway through the round. S2, not only have they been good with the info game, but their timing has been impeccable as well.
Only thing to wait for now is maybe having someone rotating around towards that library balcony, because every other facet of this attack is going well. Like you mentioned, they clear out the blue shield. They acknowledge that Giddy is still probably playing underneath, so a flank could potentially build up later in the round. And there it is, the rotate by Bio. So now they can really double attack to get rid of not only Hat, but maybe Mr. B once again from mezzanine and close towards that library hatch.
Reverse will start to make his way through Ivy, but wanting to drone further, make sure that the attackers truly have all the info they need. And it seems like that drone is just waiting and daring Mr. B to push through. Giddy will be our first casualty, thanks to Wi-Fi, who I think was still watching out for the flank. And wow, Mr. B is just going to grow some balls and swing at Valor, a 2K of his own, finished off by the bear trap as Bio tries to jump in. So a beautiful library hold at the end of the day. Despite all the info from S2, they did not expect RealityTV to take the aggressive stance.
They were still slowing down to perfectly set up that clear on the top floor, which gave RealityTV that opportunity that they were looking for. And even though Giddy did die by the hands of Wi-Fi, I bet the call was still made by RTV altogether to start getting aggressive, because they see that S2 are in the setup phase before they finally hit the go button and try to get aggressive and work those kills, which so far S2 has been pretty good at securing the opening duel. I believe they're, 2-1 right now on entry. So I can't really fault RTV for wanting to get aggressive, as they wouldn't have been given any more opportunities once S2 were getting off their drones and looking to just start barging in, because we saw how well they were able to coordinate back in round number 2. So that was a really good call and play by RTV altogether.
Maybe also questioning how important it was that Giddy was on that flank, taking away Wi-Fi and taking one of those guns that could have potentially traded out one of those aggressive players. So even though Giddy died on the flank, I think his impact was still felt. Now we go back to Dining, where we started things off with an S2 win, an incredibly efficient top floor clear from this attack, spiraling into a 1v3 for Valor on the bomb site that he ended up not winning thanks to a wayward vent. We'll see if Reality TV are able to hold up stairs for a lot longer than in the previous round. We've got Giddy on the Solus once again, so it seems like her pick rate is going to continue to skyrocket here in this match. And he's over in Bar. Instead of being on the site or with the roam, he's kind of disconnected. And this is something that I commented with LG's use of Solus. They would kind of just sit her alone on an island. And I really liked the way OXG used her because she was always in a central location, either right beneath the site hold or, you know, in the middle of the roamers on site itself. Solus was always right there in the middle of the team. And I think that's what made her so powerful.
And it's the exact same thing as last time the site was in play too, where Giddy was in that same position. He spots out the IQ scanner, a couple of drones, and he's like, okay, guys, they're doing a library over clear. That's where the main brunt of this attack is coming from. I'm going to fall back, maybe have more impact in the late round, or just gather more information with my gadget, and that's exactly what's happening right now. S2 still setting up for that office over clear. You've got Bio opening up that single doorway, heading into office itself. Now they have another angle of attack, and maybe even opening up towards that cutoff angle as well, just to, again, establish that pincer and isolation to make sure Reality TV have a very challenging time when it comes to actually defending that top floor. And matter of fact, I don't think there's any utility put around that castle barricade, so depending on what Bio has left in his back pocket, they could maybe get rid of Mr. B almost for free, to put it.
We'll have to see. It is, of course, slower than it was in the previous round. Minute 20 left on the clock for S2 to make something happen, and they haven't really done a whole lot to clear this top floor other than open the office wall. The Rotero drones start to come in. There's a lot of cover in this room thanks to the big piano in the middle, and there's Mr. B's shield going down for free. Just like you said, all it costed was a single Rotero drone, and BJL, of course, still has two more. But Valor, he'll strike first, holding down the bomb site. Reverse. Tried to get cheeky with it. He'll be unsuccessful. Bio chimes in with 2 kills, both on the site and off it. Hat and Valor both fall. BJL, a kill for himself onto Mr. B. The plank going down from Amp. Giddy will strike onto 1, moving by Trophy. Doesn't know about the man on the west main window, though. He'll get really lit up, but still win against Wi-Fi. A beautiful shot. Amp now pressured by both players. He's low HP. He's behind that bomb chassis. Giddy's going to have to try and take the fight, but Tristan comes in for the assist. The last man left is BJL up above, left to cover that diffuser. He's on the vertical. He has the advantage. He's got the floor holes, but up comes Tristan, looking to fight him. They can time this perfectly. Giddy needs to get on that counter diffuse and create an opportunity, but BJL's not distracted. He's able to take the fight for free. Giddy's going to try and stick it. Flashes go in just to delay. He has no time remaining. And again, this is the second time I think we've seen it from Reality TV. A perfect opportunity to retake upstairs, but they mistime it.
Great read by Bio as well, holding that cutoff angle towards the trophy window, understanding that the rest of his teammates are going to do a good enough job at pushing back Reality TV, especially with those grenades and Rotero drones. Mr. B went sailing away, and although you still had Valor winning that first gunfight with Reverse, again, once the fallback had been confirmed, once Reality TV felt forced enough to go away, that's where Bio steps in, gets a massive double kill, and that once again just sets the tempo for S2 to have some sort of advantage and have a lot of info for getting ready to just execute into the bomb site. And you mentioned as well that imperfect timing. Maybe if Reality TV could start forcing Giddy on that disable, that would maybe take away the attention of the floors for a couple seconds to net that kill. But still, very risky game of cat and mouse that RTV just weren't able to time correctly in that position.
And it's puzzling why Reality TV aren't doing that, because it seems so simple, right? And Reality TV are a really experienced team. It's weird that they just don't go for that play, because there was so much time left as well. If Tristan Leo's full sprints upstairs, Giddy gets on that diffuse, gives Tristan the kill. Even if Giddy dies, I mean, the office wall is open, as is the dining wall. You just run out office, hop the balcony, and there's the case. So, I don't know. It's really odd from Reality TV, but They'll drop the round. Solus being played by yet another person. We'll see Hat on her now. Giddy instead opting for the Oryx. You saw Bio earlier in the chat saying, relax, I already hate this new op. His drone was killed very quickly. Already 2 drones down, in fact, from S2 Esports on this basement site. The Thatcher goes out. So does the Exothermic. The garage wall open in the first 30 seconds.
S2 potentially looking to get that default top to bottom clear. They've got the vertical player of course, Wi-Fi, who's already looking in towards library. And with the lack of maybe that Habana, you could maybe see more hatch play in this round by S2. But if they really wanted to go across amp and do more of a line-styled execute, it wouldn't be impossible. Opening kill going the way of S2 once again. Stun flashed out, but Valor, having those smart glasses, is able to avoid it at the current moment. And so far looking to not find any sort of refrag just yet. But once again for S2, they're still focusing a whole lot on this top to bottom clear, where they might have to deal with someone playing a bit closer towards that master bedroom. But for so far, no point of contact just yet.
I love how despite being Warden, it's still not enough to take away the player's instinctive reaction to look away from the flash.
Yeah.
It's like he looked away and then was like, oh wait, yeah, I'm Warden. I can just see through it. The early loss of Mr. B definitely gonna hurt Reality TV. S2 Esports continuing to try and clear the horizontal. They'll have to deal with Giddy and Tristan now, the Oryx and the Alibi. Tristan having a much slower game than we're used to seeing through his first 2 matches in SCS. Reverse also only 3-3. No real standout performers right now, I guess, other than Valor and Amp, both on 5 kills. And both players who typically play those supporting ops that we don't expect a whole lot of kills from.
Big issue here for S2. Maybe having to worry about that player over towards dining. Of course, they have info on it, but seems like they actually might just try to ignore it. They acknowledge there's 1 or 2 people off the bomb site, and they might just play for numbers here in these final 50 seconds, Harrison.
Oh, I love this angle. Sitting on it from reverse, dealing a lot of damage to Valor as BJL just walks right in, claims the head of the Warden, almost catches the rotate of Hat, but instead it's reverse just sitting there on the blue stairs. Giddy the next to fall. Tristan alone in a 1 versus 5 with the plant going down from Amp. And honestly, this round is lost. I mean, you know, you're already in a 1 versus 5, but on this site, a retake with people outside that garage door, nearly impossible. In a 1vx scenario, there's a man just sitting there in con, and Wi-Fi is able to get the last kill. Reality TV right now are just getting pieced up.
And for S2, they're not really overcomplicating much of their attacking clears. That might be a big reason as to why RTV aren't getting as many opportunities to work those gunfights to make sure that S2 don't have some sort of overwhelming advantage. But S2 just did like the textbook definition of a snowmobile execute. They got the back wall opened up in the first 30 seconds, like you mentioned, worked some sort of opening kill, forced away the roamers to enough where they could get control of, you know, main lobby / fireplace, whatever call you prefer to give. That allowed them to get the hatches opened up, get some vertical down as well. And once S2 realized that there weren't many players on the bomb site, they could just simply walk in, maybe take a gunfight or 2, and then just have full site control. Now RTV in like a 5v3, 5v2 are forced to retake with those external angles you talked about, and crossfires as well being set up by S2. So you are really in big trouble with S2 just playing by the book, and it's working so well against RTV right now.
We'll see if they're able to put together the last round here on Bar. They're 1-1 on the site. It's the only site they've been successful at, thanks to the top floor hold. Mainly down to Mr. B and Valor getting aggressive at the right moment. They'll play probably, I think, the same setup as they usually do. Giddy just roaming around by himself on the Solus, searching for drones or any opportunity that arises for him. We'll see one on the cam. Nah, he's not thinking about running out, is he?
He's got an impact for it. I don't think he'd really need to impact the barricade, though. Might be for the hatch instead. There goes the hop in. Don't think Giddy hurt him. He's waiting for him to get back on cam inside, I think. Then he'll impact and work for a kill. So he's going to be a bit more patient for now.
Reverse is, I think, out of his scanner range now. No, never mind. Giddy is
just chasing
him.
Giddy
is just like unknowingly following him. Unfortunately here, he's not going to be able to kill Reverse. Reverse sitting on that hard floor, maybe knowing that perhaps a Solus is lurking underneath. I don't know if they have info on Giddy, but they're still stopping him from doing what he wants to do. Explosion goes out. I think that was Wi-Fi. Yeah, that was one of Wi-Fi's breaching rounds, and he gets a nice long angle from short all the way through Bar and into stock.
Unable to play off it just yet, but could definitely be potent during the mid to late round. Reverse gathering some more info with that Gemini replicator. And for about now, things are still calm over on the western front here. Terror drone comes flying out. I'm sure S2 were just about ready to start pushing back some of those defenders still playing up above. And there it is. Flourish drone used, shield destroyed, and now Mr. B probably going to have to get a bit more aggressive if he wants to still hold this top floor for a bit longer.
Half the round eclipsed, though. An S2, sure, they have some good utility usage, but they don't have any kills yet. I like this cutoff from Amp, just sitting here in coat check. However, he does have the case, so if they want to get a plant, he's going to have to walk on through the blue hallway and into either bar or games, which is dangerous no matter which doorway he chooses. He'll try to make his way on in, but he doesn't check bottom blue. Meanwhile, Bio goes down to Mr. B playing upstairs. Giddy ends up getting a 2-piece. BJL and Reverse try to claw things back. Now it's a 2 versus 3, so they only trail by 1 man. The case is forfeited right at those blue stairs, where Tristan still sits and can still defend it.
Biggest thing as well, they still have vertical control as well. S2 just kind of sitting ducks. Even if they manage to get in the bomb site, there's Giddy for 3, and now S2 really looking weak in these last 20 seconds.
Nice to see the Solus having a really big impact on the round, whether it be with the gadget or the gun. I think that was actually 3 for 3 for Giddy, 2 for Mr. B there. And RealityTV, they get that buddy ace, as we like to call it. And their second round on the defense, definitely a better top floor hold, I would say. Much more time waste. S2 didn't really make a move until about a minute there, and I just don't think they had quite enough control to go for what they wanted. They had that really long angle cutting into bar and into bar stock, but they had nothing covering the blue stairs. So as soon as they dropped the case and lost those trades, the round was pretty much over.
And as well for RTV, at least they were able to get a, technically speaking, default split. You tend to see 3-3 halves go in the way of the attack, or 4-2 like we saw in this first half instance. But they really are going to have to up the ante here on the offensive side, making sure that S2 cannot just play by the book. Because even though they at one point had case control and it was still favoring them to a little bit, S2 weren't completely out of the game. It's just the odds were still stacked, relatively speaking, pretty well against them for those last couple seconds in the round, just based off of what control RealityTV had, and S2 not really able to react well enough to that top floor position still held by RT.
Now we see Solus for S2 Esports, but instead of someone like Giddy or Mr. B, who have that shot calling capability, or typically on the back line, it's Reverse. Maybe we'll see him playing an aggressive Solus, kind of like a selfish Solus, just having info for herself and swinging everything. I mean, you have a P90 and SMG11, so why not? Early drone comes in trophy. I think it does spot Reverse. Either way, he shoots the drone. He'll fall back. There might be a cutoff on his main door, though, so he'll have to be careful should he fall all the way back, but he's happy to just sit in dining for now. Meantime, RealityTV really setting up for a solar take here, despite it being bar. And with S2 fully extended, Valor is just gonna die for free. Lack of info, I guess, for RealityTV.
You just jumped the gun a little bit, not having someone to help assist. Basically just putting Valor on an island to die against Bio. Giddy is there in the response, so it's not completely for free. But in terms of value, I definitely have to say Valor's life was a lot higher than Bio. Already had his, his util down, and Valor, he's going to be a lot more proactive with those lion skins to clear out the rest of the roamers on this top floor. So for RealityTV, things could get a lot slower, but thankfully they still have all the regular utility besides those lion skins. They've got frag grenades for the deployable shields. They've got tons of burn with the Roteros and stuns. It's not the end of the world, but again, value definitely favoring S2 in that 1-for-1.
Especially with stuns for burn, or EMP is now being lost with Valor, as well as maybe going to make this slightly harder to clear out. Tristan evades death at the hands of Wi-Fi, who's holding onto this pixel. Instead, he deals a lot of damage to that Wamai, but in comes the Aruni. BJL slips under Tristan's radar and takes him out. 3 versus 4, RealityTV once again trailing by 1 body, with only a minute left to play with and fully clear this top floor. Hat may be thinking about hopping in that office balcony window. Mr. B is going to start to press the issue through that reinforcement. Hat on his play ends up dying to BJL as we heard that DMR start to ring out. Mr. B very concerned about the blue stairs, even though there's no one playing on it. He's got to be wary of Library. Wi-Fi is still sitting here on Chimney. I think that was, yeah, BJL still covering the cross. Giddy ends up picking off Wi-Fi, and that'll prompt Hat to fall, or sorry, not Hat. That'll prompt BJL to fall back, but still damage has been done. There's only 30 seconds left.
And there's still so many angles that S2 can hold. The fallback was probably the best call, not forcing RTV to, you know, take another gunfight perhaps as they could win. And now with Amp just holding down that long angle and case control, yeah, the round is basically for forfeit. S2 taking that one in a pretty dominant manner, as again, there just weren't a lot of opportunities that RTV had to swing that man advantage, even to just a stable manner. S2 still had that man advantage quite fashionably.
I gotta give it up to BJL as well, holding down Library, getting the kill onto Tristan, you're slipping right under the window, and getting Hat to make sure Wi-Fi was going to stay alive. Really good job to BJL playing with that DMR to perfection. And S2 have a 3-round lead now. The 3-round lead they had before RealityTV claimed the last round of the first half. And things are really worrying, especially with Amp and BJL really heating up. Two players who haven't had, you know, fantastic performances so far through their first 2 games, right? I mean, if we look at their respective stats real quick, we look at, you know, we know Reverse has been the GOAT, but Amp was 15-15 dead even. BJL was 13-16, -3. The fact that they're stepping up right now like this is huge for S2, because it's not like Reverse has fallen off. Reverse is still getting kills, so is Wi-Fi now, who has also been slacking. But now the rest of S2 are waking up, and RealityTV, really with the exception of Giddy right now, are struggling.
A little shocked that RealityTV haven't really gone in for a timeout just yet either. Things have been rather rough around the edges. Maybe they're waiting until, you know, match point potentially gets proctored, since it has only been 1 defensive round. But again, the 3-round disparity here favoring S2, it's definitely a major concern, even on a map like Chalet where RTV are relatively speaking comfortable on. It's just a map that they don't go to all that often. S2 still looking to have a pretty good emphasis on their roam extension so far, since RTV have not been really the best at dealing with them so far. Again, losing on such an impactful player as that Lion last time, huge concern. And if something like that happens again, I can imagine the tempo of RTV will definitely be stunted because of that.
See how they perform taking another side of this top floor. I think that was Ash Charge from Giddy going out pretty early on. I imagine to destroy a castle barricade. Probably one of those on the exterior. Yeah, looks like the one on the piano window. I like these angles, though, from S2 Esports, keeping the pressure on. They're really forward here, preventing RealityTV from getting a good foothold in Ivy. Eventually, they will grab the Cade Claw through the wall and allow Mr. B to breach on in, which will force the Office players back. So, good progress so far from RealityTV, but we're now at the halfway point, and they got to start worrying about the shield from Wi-Fi and the long angles played by Reverse.
And he just now beginning to rotate over towards Highway. There's the opening kill favoring Valor with a good rotate over towards the solar double window, pardon me. And Hat as well gets rid of VJL. So all of a sudden, off the back of a good play, you've now got a 5-2 advantage here for RTV.
Wi-Fi's trying to fall back, but it's a fool's errand. There's too many crossfires left, and Hat cutting off from Trophy with the perfect play there. And I really got to hand it to Valor. The cutoff on Solar on an island by himself. Hat also with Trophy getting those, first 3 kills on the round. So even though RealityTV took a really long time to, I think, get things going and start to force those roamers back, it was something I was actually a little concerned about. Those cutoffs were perfectly placed, and they pretty much won the round off of it. So really well done to RealityTV to try and bring things back to a 2-round deficit. Giddy not happy that BJL opened his mouth and ate his Ash Charge whole, apparently. We'll try dining again. Now, cutoffs are all well and good, but if the defenders are painfully aware of cutoffs, they might not work as well. And I think we're going to see an adjustment, you know, just based off the fact that Valor is now Thermite. No, back on Nomad. I don't know. I feel like if they play the same cutoffs, though, they're not going to work nearly as well.
And even if that's what they want to go for, we saw no presence by, you know, the master window, for example. Maybe it'll just be a different fall-off point for S2. Maybe they're going to want to try to drop down the hatch and get into the bomb site there instead.
There we go.
Rather than going down the actual staircase itself that we saw find a lot of value there for RTV. Similarly enough to what Bio did when he was on Sophia, except just trophy window rather than that staircase. And yeah, hatches opened up. That makes total sense. A good micro adjustment there by S2. That could probably work really well, especially if RealityTV do not acknowledge that.
I think Valor right now, I think Valor's still on the solar rappel, but instead of just playing for cutoffs, he's opening those walls actively. He's opening castle barricades. And what?
Yeah, this is just unreal. I think he did it with a trophy window too. Oh,
all right, and Reverse is just sitting there in Library Connector, apparently completely unseen. He'll kill Tristan. What I initially kind of pegged this map as a Reverse versus Tristan, but Tristan is 1-6 right now.
Brother's getting handed to right now by Reverse. I hate to say that, but it's just the stats don't lie right now. Reverse just having a pretty good game, and Tristan not so much right now. RTV on that back foot once again.
Wow.
We just caught the back end of that hat. A pixel angle. Smokes Wi-Fi. But there is still a good presence up above here by S2. It just might need to take a bit of a step back. Be prepared to fall back down below. As all things considered, it's not a horrible spot to be in this 4v4 so long as you can waste a little bit more time and maybe some extra resources. But that Rotero drone just sneaking past the Jaeger. One of your 2 shields on that top floor gone, but there is still a lot of stock put up above.
Man, that shot on, I think that was a 1-tap too from Hat. Kyle Wi-Fi Galati is going to be in the Charlotte hallway after that one. That was rough. Now the roamers fall back. BJL and Biologic slipping past Valor. I don't know if the Hibana wasn't there yet or was playing too passive of an angle, but he just let 2 kills potentially slip by him. That means those players get back to the site, but Hat finds a great angle through the hash to shut down BJL, who has been the front runner for S2 Esports. He was 8-4 with a 2.0. He'll sit the rest of this round out. Reverse still hunting for drones, trying to see if there's anyone watching his flank, and because you can see through the floor, he notices that in Ivy, there's no active drones. Mr. B is just kind of running around this top floor like he doesn't know Reverse is here. This could be a massive play for the Solus. Hat aware, but still loses the fight. And Reverse is just going to back off. He knows he doesn't have to keep challenging, but no, overstays his welcome in Piano while trying to backtrack. As the man advantage still remains in the hands of RealityTV, especially with the gas canisters dwindling. 1 remaining from Amp, but still multiple avenues RealityTV can come from. Biologic's fight here in West Main is going to be oh so important, but Giddy just drops in the hatch. Amp kills him. Now a 2 versus 2. Mr. B's got Case in sight. Biologic has to win this. Valor looks away and gets finished off by Amp. The plant's going down. Mr. B doesn't have time to get off of it, and S2 still come away.
And a well-done denial of that execute as well, despite things getting a bit hairy towards the end of that round for S2. I loved the aggression there by that Solus. You talked about acknowledging that there isn't really any kind of flank cams left because you have your primary gadget to realize that, but also having not just your Solus getting aggressive above, but having Bio playing over towards West Main, as with no one dropping Fireplace, you could imagine a majority of those players are either dropping down the hatch or trying to work into Trophy either from that window or again the main staircase that we saw call people funneling in from towards those last 10 to 20 seconds. And with the smoke taking care of that hatch drop, you can just solely focus in on that trophy stairs position. Everyone had a purpose in that round, and they were able to basically take that defensive hold without too many strings attached, despite losing that Solus after finding 1 kill. I believe that was what Reverse in the Solus, correct me if I'm wrong. So a good play overall by Reverse, and the rest of S2 for just understanding what they need to do and trusting one another in securing that job.
Kind of our bet too, if we haven't made it clear. DLWLRMA is Reverse. That's him. If you want to look that up, it's the @ of a K-pop star named IU, whom he thinks is pretty. So that's the story.
That's
behind
the Reverse lore.
That's the Reverse lore. I think he also just really likes her music, but you know. Speaking of Reverse, finds a drone, hops out, gets it easily. No kill. I saw someone spawn over there, and I was like, maybe. But no, Tristan wasn't in position in time.
I think I remember the game you casted between LG and OXG, where multiple people were spawning in by the helipad just to make sure if someone was going to run out on the Solus, they would get killed trying to break a drone. I am a little shocked we haven't seen that yet, but it's only been, you know, like 1 or 2 drones destroyed. I think people are now a lot more reserved in terms of like just throwing out their drones willy-nilly. They're being a bit more passive with them, so it hasn't been as big of an issue just yet in this match.
Reality TV really focused with this library take. I don't think much happening on the piano side of things. They're all kind of focused here for now. BJO really worried about the double window. No one's playing there, though. Reverse still off by his lonesome, kind of towards dining and kitchen. You can also from below spot the drones coming in and clearing his teammate who's playing in office. That's Wi-Fi on the Wamai. Bio's going to fall off really quickly thanks to some ace charges, I think, thrown on that library wall. And because there's no one tucked in that library corner, Reality TV are free to do that. And even though Wi-Fi was able to fall back, he'll still die at the hands of Hat, giving Reality TV much-needed opener. Wi-Fi not happy with it. Now, where's Hat? Now we got to see. Now we got to see what the angle was that Hat killed him from.
Cue the sneaky snitch here. It seems like we might have a Valor get run down by this P9. Reverse is pretty aware there's someone close towards that trophy position. Hat across the ways is going to find yet another kill with that F2, and seems like RealityTV are fully clearing that top floor. Everyone else is either dead or fallen back a bit closer towards the site, and Reverse as well. He was on that roam a bit closer towards dining, but now he's heading over towards the potential bottom area of mezzanine. The impact tossed out, but Tristan is there to deny it. Maybe a bit of a bait and switch or just coincidental here as Hat finds yet another, and now Bio is left in a 1 versus 5, and it's flawlessly done by RTV, mostly off the back of Hat.
4 kills for Hat, but he was still technically, I guess, involved in every gunfight, considering the Solus play there from Reverse.
Yeah, the weird interaction there.
Yeah, I loved the idea. I saw the vision, but unfortunately there was coverage, and Reverse was kind of in the middle of nowhere trying to do that. Reality TV, a much better handle on the situation. As soon as Wi-Fi fell back, as soon as Wi-Fi fell back, right, he hopped over that railing, and then Hat instantaneously jumped in the office window and got the kill. Like that was just impeccable timing, and then just kind of continued to lord over. What is that Osa picture?
I think I have.
Is she supposed to be Rudolph? That's terrible.
Yes.
That's cursed. I hate that. I hope Hat dies now. In game, of course.
We would never.
I would never
wish.
Yeah, I would never do that, of course. But yeah, I hope Hat gets first picked. No, he's on a different op. All right, cool. I still hope he gets first pick just for running that. That's terrible.
for not even elaborating, flaunting the idea of bringing out such an icon.
Just entertaining the principle of that portrait.
Well, seems like for RTV, I'm a little interested to see how they want to attack for this top 4. They've got no vertical, only the thermite. I mean, are they just going to keep things simple with this attack? I wouldn't be like too shocked. No. Oh, I was going to say they have a Thatcher for primary EMPs. I was going to say they have a bunch of flashes as well. I'm really interested.
I really want to Reverse to run out the front door to get that drone. I think that would have been really entertaining.
Would have been epic.
I like the, you know what else is epic? I love the Cade Bandit double up. Because they know there's a Thatcher on the board, right? So they're going to be playing the bandit trick. Wow, what the hell? Did you see what just happened to that EMP? That was
thing
crazy.
went rolling.
And Bio don't even need the Solus. They got no idea what's going on. I was just going to continue to see her. Now Valor's probably like, guys, there's a bandit. Can't really do much about it. Luckily, there's no Jaeger.
So they can nade
and
it.
I don't think there's any discs here either, but they're going to have to use another EMP. The Cade Claw goes out, but the nade destroys it. There we go. I love the idea from S2, and it does take up 1 exothermic. I think if Reality TV were a slightly lesser team, then that works. That was odd. All right.
Yeah, don't really know what to think about that one, but good play by Wi-Fi. Can't fault him for that. I did see earlier Yeah, I did see earlier that at least RTV were trying to set up a lurk for the late round, but it seems like the audio is there for BJL, so he knows there's at least one player a bit closer towards that wine doorway. And yeah, a lot was spent up to just get this main wall opened up. And yeah, Valor's like, you know what? Let's just hop in, hope for the best. His teammate Agitty dies, but at least someone's in the bomb site making impact.
Oh my god, he's gonna go blue too, challenging this Cade
Wow.
and winning the fight, but Amp takes out the Case player. Tristan dropping it on blue, another kill for Amp, keeping the attack at bay, and Hat just kind of chilling outside the breach, is left in a 1v3, and he's the last remaining member separating Reality TV from a map loss. He'll spot the elbow of the smoke, but he's got to worry about main stairs too. He lights up that player, but Wi-Fi is playing so passively. Now Hat with 1 HP doesn't have much hope of winning this round. Will try to make his way over towards Wine, get some sort of foothold in the site, but again, Case is dropped on blue stairs, and there's another body upstairs from S2 watching it. The smoke catches the cross from Hat and wins the fight. Amp, 3 kills in blue. A tremendous performance. Even though Reality TV looked like they were going to start running it through sight with Valor's 2K, Amp shuts it all down, and S2 take their map pick.
And overall, I'm definitely a bit confused as to what the idea was there for RTV, because they didn't really have a bunch of utility to help assist after the wall is opened up for Snowmobile heading into the bomb site. It just seemed like that was going to be their main plan, and then have someone, you know, lurk across the map, cause that chaos. But a lot of teams nowadays expect those kind of lurk plays, so they will just actively barricade the doorway leading in the bomb site, so you have to make yourself known. So again, that level of anticipation that we've been seeing by S2 in this first map, it thrives once again, and it basically shuts down almost everything that RTV was trying to accomplish. The only person who had major impact that round was Valor by getting the wall opened up, finding those 2 kills. But that lurk over by, you know, the wine doorway and that player creeping down blue stairs, both of those attacking campaigns, those failed. So it really was just the thermite on a whim.
And losing those 2 players wouldn't have been as bad had the blue guy, Tristan, on Iana not been carrying Case. Kind of interested.
That's also odd,
Yeah, kind of interested as to why that decision was made. I wonder if maybe Mr. B dropped Case and Tristan was the only player near him and they just never passed it off. Yeah, that was a bit odd there from Reality TV, but S2, a wonderful job on that map. Definitely impressing as they've been the entirety of this season so far. Really handling RTV well. And like you said, even though Reality TV may have said, you know, hey, we're not worried about reverse, he might not be the one they have to worry about.
That is a good point, and at least the comparison between, you know, Tristan and Reverse definitely seems like Reverse is popping off a lot more in Chalet, but Bank is definitely a better scene for RTV as a whole. They're a lot more comfortable with that map. They play it way more often in comparison to Chalet, so I'm definitely wondering how well that success on Chalet can, traverse over on Bank, where RTV as a whole probably just have more experience.
Yeah, and a map that, again, unlike Chalet, they played a lot of during the Challenger League seasons. But before we get into that, we're going to cut to a break, give the players a quick rest between maps. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with map number 2 just after this.
Hawks on a double though, and he finds a third to the smoke.
It's just an ult. Getting it to 3K with an ult.
With 3 seconds left, Simon lands the pre-fire. Nobody can kill him in time.
And he clutches it out. What a play from the alibi as the lobby player goes unchecked.
Welcome back, everyone. If you missed map number 1, it ended 7-4 in the favor of S2. They did a lot well. Their info game was really on point. It felt like RealityTV just weren't doing quite enough to disrupt not only info game, but also S2 setting up for those roam clears and pushes. RealityTV, I think a lot of their timing was off as well. And a big gun that we've seen, Tristan, largely absent, finishing the map 2-7.
Yeah, only scoring that default, 2-4 split in the first half, and then really not able to put the pieces together as well in the second half. It didn't feel like RTV are really going that full distance. You talked about the disruption, off broadcasts and on it as well. There weren't a lot of openings that RealityTV could find in the early round. They were really harping in on that mid to late round presence, and that just allowed all of that wonderful setting up to go down by S2. They took full advantage of that by, again, taking their time, gathering that information that you mentioned earlier to also then let their entry game do fairly well too. I mean, a couple of people going 2-1, mostly reverse and Wi-Fi, who have always been that first factor in the round. Not so much the same really with RealityTV in terms of just general scoring as well.
Yeah, even though the entries were quite similar, it felt like S2 were in control of a lot of those early rounds. I mean, Amp 11-5 having a standout performance along with BJL, two guys who I highlighted during the game, were not statistically great through the first couple games. It was pretty much the reverse show, but as soon as he takes a back seat, everyone, Amp and BJL, start to step up. And something that we saw from RealityTV, right? When in Challenger League, a big question that we asked was, hey, if Gavini's not having a great day, what becomes of this team? And it seemed like that wasn't an issue, especially in playoffs. Gavini seemed to kind of cool down against Aerial Rise, but that's when everyone else here stepped up. But now we see Tristan popping off in the first 2 games, 2 very close wins, 7-5 for RealityTV, and without him, they crumble against S2.
Yeah, and no one has been able to really fill that void either. You had, I believe, the top player of Giddy, and he was keeping it pretty consistent. He was just being Giddy, just being the rock of the team essentially, and no one else, like we mentioned, was there to really fill that gap. So hopefully on a more suitable map like Bank for RTV, that could change, but if not, we might end up just seeing a 2-0 favoring the technical underdogs, despite how well they've been playing in the best of 1 format here at SCS.
And we'll have to see how they do on Bank. Regarding record for RealityTV during the Challenger League season, they beat Aerial Rise. So during the normal season, they beat Aerial Rise 7-4. Played it against them in the finals and lost 7-2. In fact, Bank was the only map they lost in the entirety of Stage 3 into playoffs. They even beat LG, or sorry, not LG. They beat One Shot on this map 7-4 as well. They played it against IF day 1 of SCS, won that 7-5. S2, however, we have no idea. They haven't played it yet, so.
Well, seems like the poll is still favoring RealityTV, even more a little bit, just by 2% here for map number 2. A little shocked to see that, but again, it is the map pick of RealityTV, just going off of default. You do expect, your opponents to win their map pick and then vice versa for you. So, on paper, this all makes sense, but just the way that S2 won Chalet, I think that's the bigger concern out of everything.
They'll be sticking with the Dokkaebi ban. Don't know how crippling that is for RealityTV, but I definitely think it's a target ban considering how much they use that operator. I think Giddy, one of the main guys to don her. Nook and Valkyrie. I was just making sure. Nook and Valkyrie being the next 2 from RealityTV. I think just like we saw on Chalet, and Cade rounding things out, meaning that again we have Mira and Solus still up. Of course, Bank being a much better Mira map as well.
Attackers need to locate and
I wonder if the, Cade ban more specifically for S2 is if they're going to want to maybe focus less on bringing, Thatcher or just general secondary EMPs, especially since, one of the few operators that has secondary EMPs available is that Dokkaebi, so that just limits their overall pool. And I don't recall that they brought a lot of, Lion, for example. That was mostly on the side of RTV, so that could be one of the major reasons why. Makes sense. And for RTV, funny enough, that same, vault drop that I talked about, that isn't something they're unfamiliar with, and maybe even bringing a Ying here on bank, but that latter part probably not as frequent. Instead, it'll probably be just them, maybe trying to go for that back vault drop if they feel inclined to, but more or less, they're still going for that top to bottom clear because based on their lineup, they've got tons of vertical, they've got tons of operators that can provide good info, both the Lion and the Ayana, and then of course Habana for the hatches that I've mentioned several times.
And now looking at the Cade ban, it's just dawning on me how little we saw Cade played on Chalet, despite him still being up. And it might be a sentiment of, a combination of both Solus, taking the place of Cade in a lot of these lineups because she's simply so powerful, and Cade being a lot weaker with a Thatcher up. So probably look more to maybe, less Thatcher bans and less Cade play if Solus is still up. S2 Esports defending downstairs, but still roaming on these upper floors. They've got the hatches still soft, ready to be opened for those rotates back. Upstairs, hatches soft as well, allowing the Buck of Hat to start working his way in. I'm sure Giddy also supporting with that duo vertical destruction, really going to try and put the pressure on these S2 Esports players. Bio already downstairs, opening the hatch and allowing Reverse an escape should he feel a little too much heat.
Speaking of the Mozzie, though, still has that C4 prepared in case he maybe wants to toss it out to slow down some of those vertical attackers. But Wi-Fi, already the first death by the hand of Tristan. So far, not a bad clear. And now that might force the hand of Reverse to still stay up here for a bit longer just to work that kill, as there is still tons of time in the pool of RTV. And now they've got two players in that advantage. There goes the swing by Reverse, and finally he drops down. But still, RTV, they are in the lead and still have tons of time.
Picking up Solus like that so early on is also great. Your info now much safer. You really just have to worry about those Mozzie pests, but of course you get an early warning before those pests can catch your drone. Killing Wi-Fi and BJL. Tristan getting in early on the action. Valor still able to pick up a kill also bodes well for the remainder of this map because it did take Tristan quite a while to get himself ready. Drone coming in through blue confirms the position of Amp. The Reverse now walking up is sitting behind the drone, following it, knowing that he's not spotted. There's someone just through the rotate, and he'll catch the head of Giddy. Now looking for more, challenging the window. Nice headshot onto Mr. B. Reverse is just running amok. 3 kills in the round, every single one of them so far. Valor and Tristan are already all the way downstairs. Maybe just ignoring this Mozzie. They can take the 2v2 on site. They can surely win the round. If Valor just looks the wrong way, there's no info for them to play off of. This late in the round, I don't get it.
And now it's just Tristan in a 1v3, and he's just looking to desperately try to take back up the top floor. Yeah, I was going to say, he was looking to maybe kill Reverse, and yeah, now he's just in a rock and a hard space.
Gas canisters going out is going to completely delay him. I mean, he gets a pity kill, I guess, on Reverse. He'll get the finisher, so he'll get to pat his stats, but pad his stats. But that, I mean, again, that round all Reverse, getting that flank in. And something that happened on Chalet too is a surprising lack of flank drones or any semblance of flank watch from RealityTV.
Just not a lot of info towards the end of that round as well. When you had RealityTV then, having a bit of a hiccup with Reverse just storming back up above, they figure, you know what, we already have a guy Dirt, we have someone down bottom Marble. Let's just hope we can, win our ones and maybe just get the site control. They didn't even know where Bio or the other defender that was down below, where exactly they were playing at in those last couple seconds on the round. They were just walking in blind, and S2 just took full advantage of that. The info game, like we both mentioned now, really lacking on the side of RTV, and that is shocking because they've brought both Alliant and Ayana now twice heading into map number 2.
Hopefully they'll be a little more cognizant of their flanks, after a whole map of getting punished by them and now really losing the first round off of it. Reverse back on that Solus. That served him so well in map number 1. More info denial at the hands of this Mozzie, too. I love the combo coming out from S2 Esports, really disrupting RealityTV's info game. Now bringing the Azami and the Oryx, as well as the Castle, to really bolster that top floor roam. And it looks like, dude, is everyone roaming? There's not a single body on the site.
Say, I like the call having a zombie because there, there was no Ash. There was only, maybe, they had both a Sledge and Ionis. They had 2 sets of grenades, but you want to focus on having those around just for players when they're setting up in the anchor, not so much trying to burn through utility when there isn't much deployed besides, castle barricades on the top floor. So that is a good adjustment there by S2. And once again, for RTV, having that lack of utility, it could stall them a lot when clearing out this top floor. And in terms of aggression, S2, they've got plenty of it based off that very heavy roam style of play. Maybe even a hop out could happen from some of those window repels, but Giddy is expected.
We'll start to open those double windows up. First target, potentially Wi-Fi, but Reverse is also pushed pretty far forward towards Stock and Janitor before he falls back. Well, never mind, he not fall back. Why do I ever say that? Reverse and falls back should never be uttered in the same sentence, but he will get punished. Hat peeks in the window, lands the first frag. No more dangerous flanker, but certainly doesn't mean no one else can take up that mantle.
Say, still just 6 drones available. Definitely felt like the Solus did a good chunk of lifting to make sure a lot of that info towards the early round is going to be rather weak, and that could really punish the rest of RealityTV in the late round. Speaking of info, you do locate where BJL is. He does have a bit of help from both Wi-Fi and Bio, still on a decent roam towards this first floor. And with some of that vertical going off, that might force back some of the defenders here by S2, but it's not a major concern. That's what they're expecting. And now they know that Valor is over towards lobby. Interested to see if they have someone maybe try to retake the top floor to challenge that. Maybe that's what Wi-Fi is looking to do towards the hatch, and having Bio as well to bait could be a good play to work a kill.
Speaking of Bio, looks like he'll ascend the staircase with BJL falling, and now Hat chiming in. Wi-Fi makes his way up the elevator to try and work a flank, but they know about it. It's a very loud sound that Oryx makes when he tries to hop through. Valor's got the cutoff as well. There's another one from main stairs. The main stairs player will fall, but Valor's there for the instant trade, leaving Amp alone in a 1 versus 4, stuck in the bomb site. No round-saving flank this time for S2 Esports. RealityTV know they can take their time. A whole 40 seconds to play with. You hear hard breaching going out. They don't want to get ahead of themselves, but Valor loses his fight, traded out by Mr. B, and that is the tried and true RealityTV trade potential that they're known for.
And just having people in the right place at the right time as well for RealityTV. Not those initial kills that went down on the top floor to make it that 5v2, 5v1, but before that, the combo for the Storm, having someone playing over towards lobby, acknowledging there's someone playing between both towers and archives, and also making sure that by you being over towards gold, no one's going to flank towards that direction. If RealityTV with that man advantage are expecting someone to work a pick towards the late round, there's only a couple of places they have to look for. Marble Stairs, more specifically, they instantly kill Bio, and as the Oryx eventually begins to walk, or at least hop up through the hatch and elevator to kind of play off that small bait that Bio was attempting, that then, dwindles down the process of elimination that, RealityTV has to go for in terms of areas to look at, since no one is clearly going to go back up that Marble Stairs to try and work another pick. So good job by RealityTV to just thin the options that S2 had for that round, since the round before that, they had several options to work kills, more specifically done by Reverse.
Also good to see Tristan 3-0 right now. Of course, he did lose the first round, off of time, but already more kills than he had in the first 2 rounds than the entirety of last map. So maybe, he had a warm-up map and he's starting to wake up. I like the Echo pick from S2. Coming in from Amp, no IQ being played by RealityTV. Instead, they're opting for an Osa Capital combo. Smokes and flames, as well as those shields to set up long angles or play on the windows. But right now, Hat is on the lobby windows. Watching and waiting, daring someone to trek over to that staircase so he can get a freebie. But you can probably expect him to either go top square or onto the window repels with Mr. B when it's time for the execute to start working.
Yeah, from that distance, pocket EMPs and talent shields aren't going to do anything. So for right now, looking for a free kill maybe, then he'll rotate elsewhere to help assist the rest of that execute. And yeah, already beginning to do so. You've got Mr. B as well, just playing on those window repels. I could imagine with the help of those Capital asphyxiating bolts and smoke bolts, he's going to make a lot of space to help, again, the rest of his teammates set up into the bomb site and get that plant down as quickly as humanly possible. There is still some good info here by S2 to just kind of acknowledge what RealityTV RealityTV are trying to set up in this round, and that might be the reason why Bio is just playing underneath. He might be expecting that plant to go down, and he can hard counter that, not only with his C4, but also if there's info, he can use his shotgun to just kill people through the floorboards.
And this is really dangerous for RealityTV if they don't either clear downstairs or take out the yokais, because even if you don't use the bursts, it's still free info. But Hat walks up, there's the C4 coming in from Bio thanks to the info of the yokais, but now the yokai user goes down. Hat able to get away despite Reverse being on the chase. The cutoff there from the skylight from Tristan. Reverse gets his kill, but Giddy refrags BJL, and that leaves Reverse all the way towards Janitor in a 1 versus 3. Pace control in the attacker's hands. He's taking the fight against Tristan, and he'll win it. So now it's a 1 versus 2. It's very winnable for Reverse. The last two attackers now need to consolidate and play for the trade as Giddy gets this plant down. They can't back off the windows. They can't play the windows for post plant. They're stuck inside, but luckily Reverse looks the wrong way. Valor cleans him up, and RealityTV keep the lead.
And eventually, RealityTV, they did assess the problem of Bio playing underneath, so it was only that singular kill that he found with that Nitro Cell, and that was on Mr. B, who had already used, at the very least, half of his utility on the Capitao with those bolts. So he also still made enough space for everyone else to get into the bomb site and work those kills. More specifically, Hat dealing a ton of damage in that round, and also Valor being able to rack up that kill. I believe it wasn't even on Bio. It was on someone else playing down below, assisting Bio. And then it was Tristan on the cutoff angle as Bio was coming back up above. That's when the mute finally dies in that round. Good discipline as well by Tristan, funny enough, acknowledging there could be someone playing underneath to stop that straightforward plant. So now one of the two, access ways that S2 can get back up above, or one of 3 ways, funny enough as well, is being accounted for by Tristan. So the coordination there, although the timing of it wasn't fantastic, it was still good enough to secure the round well.
You gotta admire Hat too for just walking in like that.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly. Channel the Gavini.
Just focus up. Yep.
I think that was who was the one like sitting over there that Hat killed first? Is that Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it was, because technically Hat got the opening gunfight, or like the opening entry, before Bio C4 killed Mr. B. It was like a second before.
Yeah. So RealityTV lead 2-1. Looking much, even in the round they lost, up until that flank, they were fully in control. They look much more comfortable on Bank than they did on Chalet. And I mean, you can't blame them, especially if they don't play Chalet a whole lot. It was S2's map pick. You know, when you go into a best of 3, you always plan to win your map and the decider. You don't worry about the opponents. If you lose it, oh well, just win your own map. If you win it, then great. Then you should be able to 2-0. So RealityTV now working the top floor, because of course they are. It's an open area attack, a site that they just took pretty handedly. In fact, thanks to their top floor clear. But S2 are going to bring out a Pulse and a Solus. So rather than doubling down on the info denial, they'll double down on the info for themselves.
And the change as well by Hat being on the Ash, I think that's a direct change up to not only have a bit of extra vertical, not just having Buck in that department, but also being able to help assist with those key barriers that could have been an even bigger issue for RTV. But so far, Wi-Fi, he's being rather problematic on this top floor. He scores 2 kills with the MX4, and now RTV are kind of forced to still initiate, although they don't have the manpower to do so. And S2, they realize they've already accomplished so much on that top floor. Why bother trying to risk losing someone in that position? They all fall back and just really force the hand of RTV. A well done play by them.
Oh, and a poor nade there from Tristan to try and open the castle barricade. It just kind of missed. It just sat in the corner and didn't destroy anything. So instead, Mr. B is going to have to try and open it. Looks like Tristan's going to try and work the window, the copy window. Mr. B's got to be careful of Biologic, though, who's peeking out that barricade. Did Mr. B just run into sight?
He did.
He did, and he's going to get punished for it by Amp. Valor picks up 2, though, making this a 2 versus 3. Still hunting for the low HP alibi of Wi-Fi as well. Tristan very nervous about hopping in the window thanks to the floor hole set up by the defense. It's Amp who will likely turn around and end up killing him if that's the case. But with a minute left, thanks to Valor, RealityTV's situation is slightly more doable as long as Valor checks the right angles. There's a player lurking in this elevator. It's the low HP Wi-Fi, but he doesn't check it. Why? Why would you not check that?
Oh, you only half prepared for it. You just assume no one would be there. That's such a misplay. And now S2, they're just in a 3v1 with Tristan just forced to walk in through the double door with several lines of sights on him. That's so unlucky.
Yeah, I don't get it. He at least turns around and picks up BJL, but on very low HP. He's got to fight against Wi-Fi and Amp. Amp's going to be the first one in his path to victory. Should it come true? And oh my god! Hold on, 6 seconds left. Pistol out. He's got to hunt down Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is so low. Tristan, you got to make it happen, but he's caught sprinting. Wi-Fi plays it well. Gets 4 kills on the round to almost single-handedly win it for his team.
Major opening by Wi-Fi, more specifically in that early round on the top floor. And overall, I suppose for S2 playing off each other's contact in the late round as well, that was also well done by the defensive half. You had 3 people pretty close to one another, expecting someone to be over between maybe the marble staircase / that archives teller position, because that's where Valor found his, first 2 kills for that round. So no matter what happens, Valor takes a gunfight one-on-one. Now there's 2 other players swinging at the same time to then instantly challenge him. They didn't even need to, require that fallback option. The first point of contact was still the person who killed Valor because he just didn't fully check that elevator, which sucks, but it happens from time to time. And then Tristan is put in a rather precarious position of that 1v3, which he almost came back from, but he was also really short on time and even shorter on info. So now things tied up once again. S2 doing a really good job of just keeping consistent against RTV.
Yeah, making sure that RealityTV aren't able to escape with any substantial lead. Having an attacking side on Bank too, you really want that 4-2 split, since the the basement side is really the only one that is really, really good. The others, I think, even open area, are not necessarily a toss-up, but slightly more attacker favored. So we'll see how they do on lockers again. Rocking the Mozzie, rocking the Soulless, so info and denial combination that S2 were running pretty much every round except for the previous one when they brought that Pulse instead. And I like the 3-tiered roam from S2. I just hope it doesn't go as poorly as it did last time, because remember, reverse flanking was really the only reason they won that round.
Yeah, it was a 5-on-3 off the bat for RTV. Plenty of info being gathered, though, by S2, so they're at least aware that a majority of that attack is starting out on the top floor. That's kind of a given, though, with the bomb site that's in play currently. And Bio even knows there's someone lurking towards ATM. So for right now, S2 not in a load of trouble, and they're anticipating what's about to happen. There's that opening kill found by Reverse onto basically one of your only few hard breachers. You have, of course, Hat with the secondary breaching charges, but that's really it now. That is going to heavily limitate RTV, especially if they, can even manage to push back these roamers. They're still sitting pretty in open area for the most part.
At the very least, most of these site hatches are soft, thanks to the big roam by the defense, so you don't need Mr. B all that much, but the Hibana really finds her value, and the hard breach on this map really finds their value, in opening those default walls to get that plant down. Otherwise, it's incredibly difficult unless you have, a wide opening that you can crouch through. Hat is just going to drop on in and catch Biologic off guard, but Reverse, rotating around, slams Giddy, keeping the 3 versus 4, eventually gets traded by Hat. Meantime, the rest of the roamers have since fallen back down to the bomb site. So it's a 3v3 with a minute left, but still, I would consider S2 Esports in the advantage, considering the control they still have. No more hard breach for the attack to get those default walls open, and Wi-Fi, who can call out exactly when that plant is going down for his smoke.
And now they're going to have someone rotate, I believe, over towards Dirt. I think they have to commit for more of a server-styled execute. Yeah, Tristan picks up the case. He'll drop down through Dirt like he did last time, and having the rest of your teammates just play off that hatch and maybe force back S2 with the help of those stuns. But still, this is a major gamble in the final 30 seconds, Harrison.
Valor looking to drop on in. His target is Amp, but is there anyone else watching him? In comes Tristan. He'll get one, but BGL finds both of his teammates. Now he's stuck inside the site, stuck in a crossfire. As the gas goes out, he'll get one, turns around looking for the second. Stops shooting before he gets any damage on Am. The cam spots him rotating through. He'll try and nade Vault, nade both his angles to try and get the plant down, maybe using it as sound cover and keeping Amp at bay, and the smoke is too far. He'll get it. Now Tristan can work the post plant. The smoke comes out. deals a little bit of damage. He's firing through it, and he gives himself up to the gas. Instead of just hopping through the window, scared that the smoke was going to push, he peeks on into it, and Amp happy to get the free win.
And the sad thing as well, I believe you had a small room where you could still play in there. And yeah, look at that. The smoke, it just ends off right next to the diffuser.
Yeah,
he
he
could
was
have
safe in
played
the
back
corner.
there. Yeah, he didn't even have to get himself exposed to that window. That could have been played a little bit better by Tristan, but I think the nerves just got the best of him, and he was just hoping that the smoke overextends. He wins the 50-50 gunfight before the smoke grenade kills him. Not the worst idea, but in the heat of the moment, might have been done a little bit better. Also, the real unfortunate thing is RealityTV, despite being able to pick back up that diffuser and get somebody in server, I don't think Tristan there was the right player to try to play for that post plant, because even if you have someone drop down the hatch and force away the smoke, you still have other angles that S2 can use, like where the Warden was playing towards garage, to shut down the person sticking that default plant. Instead, having someone with the case drop down on the hatch, that might have been a slightly better option, and then just allowing, you know, Tristan with his frag grenades to just start throwing them out, creating the same amount of space your players dropping down the hatch would have made instead. And now for S2, reattempting the top floor, they now have Bio on the Solus with a shotgun to really double down on that plant denial on the first floor. Definitely an interesting way of doing so, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, you can just sit down below, stare at his visor. And it might especially help, too, if Mr. B ends up being the one to get in that bomb site and get that plant down. The best way to try and counter a Monty is vertically. Although Mr. B's Monty has been incredibly potent in a sense whenever he's brought it. I mean, it's just been dominance pretty much every round it's played on this CEO site. He just walks himself up main stairs, drops the shield, and kills someone as he has the support of his team. He's in spawn right now, just droning his team up for now, but there's nothing that S2 Esports really have to directly counter him. No smoke, no lesion, nothing to keep him at bay, and not even impacts. I mean, they've got 2 from Bio and no other explosives. So I think dealing with this Monty, unless Mr. B makes a catastrophic mistake, is going to be really difficult.
And they have the ace to help get the canter wall opened up, and they're going to have nades to force back other defenders too. So there is a lot of accountability to help the Montaigne not just be a solo threat, having everyone here to assist Mr. B and do his job more specifically. So S2, like you mentioned, they are rather limited on options to shut down this one power play that RealityTV tend to bring out for this map. So it's going to be interesting to see how they could maybe counteract some of those, you know, cross angles that RTV are trying to set up to once again enable the Montaigne, maybe with the help of those keep barriers, and also just having a flank potentially. But Tristan is at least prepared for that, as he is playing rather proactively in that first floor.
Mr. B already all the way up the stairs, and Tristan already with an opening kill, knocking down the Solus. That important plant coverage down below. A follow-up with the pistol onto Amp as well. Really important two-piece. Mr. B dropping the shield, fighting against BJL, lighting him up to pretty much 1 HP. Gonna try for the kill again as the shorty comes out. Valor ends up dying. Mr. B's still looking for the frag, but he gets flanked. That's huge from Wi-Fi. Now it's a 3 versus 2. BJL has to get taken out by this attack if they still want to end up winning it. The Sledge of Hat finally takes him out, and that leaves Wi-Fi in a 1 versus 3. The Monty, even though he's not alive, still putting a lot of pressure on that castle, lighting BJL up, calling out many things for his team, but you got to give it up to Tristan for opening the round. Wi-Fi, though, a brilliant shot onto Giddy. Puts us in a 1 versus 2. Hat's got the case, and he's right up there in the site, but Tristan gets the angle, sees Wi-Fi's feet, thanks to that little opening and that crack in the wall. RealityTV tie the half 3-3.
Major play by Tristan as well. Once again, the anticipation of those roamers, or at least a flank potentially being there, having himself set up in the right position to counter that, netting himself 2 separate kills. It's just ease of mind for RealityTV. They can solely focus in on taking that top floor, no pun intended, obviously, after the Solus had died. They can just walk up gold stairs and then pinpoint the attackers as to where they can push in from. No one was near that vending machine hallway or by the elevator close to Kanto, so they could all just start looking at the guy who is, over in front desk. They try to deal with him immediately. Eventually, you have that refrag found by the Sledge. So it was enough to confirm the round on that top floor, and also enough space made by both Tristan and Mr. B to allow everyone else to do their job for that top floor.
Yeah, you'd expect teams to be able to adjust to the Monty play. Considering Reality TV, you know, even though the Monty play is really dangerous, they kind of do the same thing every time. They just send Mr. B up main with support and then have Tristan hit the back. Like, you'd think teams would be wise to that by now, but Tristan still got 2, so. You know, oh well.
That round.
Oh well, he got 2. He got 2 on the lurk, and then
I
he got
realized
the
you
last
meant
one.
that.
Yeah.
My bad.
All
My bad,
good.
G.
Locker CCTV being the first site for Reality TV, and for the first time this map, we're seeing a Jackal. Reverse will play him. 0 as well for BJL, and interestingly enough, Reality TV not rocking the Solus.
Not too shocked about Reverse playing the Jackal. Pretty sure he brought him out almost every single round on Oregon against Parabellum when, you know, he was expecting that aggressive roam style of play. This is probably one of Jackal's best maps as well, because you do force the roamers off at a much faster time because you've got solid info. Okay, this guy's here. Let's try to pincer him. So now you're forced to retreat off the map without getting a lot of value as that roamer, because you're not breaking drones, you're not wasting time, and now you're in a more vulnerable position to those attackers. And I think RTV are getting the rough assumption of that, as they already fall away on that top floor with not even 50 seconds burned away.
And plus, with the kind of self-sustainability of the footprint scanner and a really, really good gun in the C7E, it's a perfect solo entry op for Reverse, really. And he's already made his way down towards the teller's desk. Info being collected for him. We'll spot that there are no footprints here. A goo mine at the feet of the barricade. Or he'll maybe open it up with a shotgun. No, lights him up through the wall. He had the info. I think Hat was red pinged. He just didn't care.
Who's gonna kill me? Surely I do not die in this position. He's instantly gone. RTV now forced off the roam at a really good time frame here for S2. And they've got the man advantage. I mean, this is just the perfect position that you could ask for as S2. And they still have boatloads of utility. They've got 2 sets of flashes, loads of hard destruction of both the Buck and, or hard destruction of both the Habana and the Zero. My mistake, not the Buck for once. And they had BGL at least attempting to lurk. And now at the very least, he's just creating that threat of someone could be there in the late round as he now rotates to be useful somewhere else.
And MP7 kicking a little bit, I have to say, on the brief shot we had of him there. Luckily for the attack, a lot of those hatches already open. The Hibana can save most of her hard breaching to open up one of those default walls if that's what she wants to go for. Smoke grenades coming out pretty early for Reality TV. 35 seconds remaining, and Valor's only got 1 left. Wi-Fi, no hard breach charges, so he'll have to wait for either BJL or AMP to rotate in and open one of those default walls, as the last of the smoke has now been sent out. Reverse is just going to drop on in, and he dies instantly to the crossfire of Giddy. Tristan lands another one. Wi-Fi and AMP, though, trade back each. Now it's a 2 versus 1, though, as Reality TV's trade game on this bomb site is simply too much for S2 to overcome. The time is dwindling. Wi-Fi has been good this series so far. Is he going to be good enough? He's got 1 on a Mr. B, but with 3 seconds left, he's got to try and make the play happen, but no ammo in the gun. And I mean, even if he did, it's not really a combat capable weapon anyway. He was just trying to see if he had a pistol, get that movement speed buff, but with a Legion mine in his foot, there was no chance of winning that round.
And one of the huge benefits that S2 did have for that execute is with so much time available to them, they burned through all the util that RTV had. All the toxic smokes gone. I believe a C4 got ripped out as well. There wasn't much to stop S2 from entering into the bomb site, but with that information still there by RTV, and with them especially acknowledging that there could have been a lurk over by Garage, they shut that down much earlier in the round. They then only have to focus on some of the hatch drops and the CCTV walk-in, which, again, they were expecting that because they had info, and they had a lot of good guns to play those mid-range engagements. More of those just ended up going their way and just able to play out the timer, because S2, although they had a lot of time to set up, it did still take them a good chunk of seconds to, you know, burn through all that utility, and then still have about 20 seconds or so to start throwing out their flashes and grenades, which didn't really push back anyone in RTV, especially, you know, Giddy on the Warden, because, well, he's Warden, he hard counters all.
Yeah, he was just holding that cross down. Interesting that Reality TV not opting for the Solus on this bomb site, which I feel is probably her best bomb site. Not gonna lie, considering, you know, it's so central, and really anywhere Solus sits is gonna be important to either the roam or the site. But they figure they're happy playing their normal setup with that castle with Giddy and Hat both roaming upstairs. Tristan with the stock shield. Interesting. We saw an interesting shield from Valor on site too. I think it was in the double door from Open to Kitchen, watching the copy window, which I have not seen before. I've not seen that shield. Well, we do see a lot though with Mr. B. Solo holding on the horizontal. Teams have started to read into this and started to challenge him, but he usually goes at the very least like 1-for-1 or wastes a lot of time. So you can't argue with the results. As Valor, he might be about to lose his shield. Wi-Fi coming with those drones. Yeah, we'll nab it on the site for free.
S2 just looking to set up for the execute later in the round. They have the printer window. Based off of what S2 are running, it looks like they're probably going to want to do a hatch drop from, you know, that stock position, I think it's called, with the help of those Candelas, and already having the printer and double barricade open up as well, closer to E-Box. That's definitely going to be a good boon for them later in the round, but of course they still have to clear out this top floor, and they've lost 2 people in that campaign. Make it 3 as BJL just gets eradicated by Mr. B, just hiding behind that back desk and tellers. So although they had the right setup for it, their execution of it just went flat in its face.
Remember when I said that Mr. B typically goes at least 1-for-1 on the horizontal roam? Well, he went 2-for-1 as he's finally cleaned up by Wi-Fi. Mr. B is the Dawn of tellers, apparently, leaving Bio and Wi-Fi in a 2 versus 4. Bio, bit of a slow start, but he does find the opening in a site that he was looking for, and he'll start to make a claim here to take control of the round. Very careful about his backside. Valor's got 2 doorways to watch, and he'll win his fight on the kitchen double, leaving Bio now alone in the site with no case control. He dies to the hatch. Giddy still playing upstairs, gets his 2nd kill of the round, and a brilliant off-site roam from Reality TV gives them a 2-round lead.
Yeah, with how S2 were starting that attack, working their way over from front lobby, I was definitely a bit questionables to that, why that was the main reason, or I guess the main point of attack I should specify, sorry, because again, you're focusing more on probably a stock drop, having someone over by printer. You have all these Candelas and flashes. It definitely seemed a bit odd that they didn't want to focus on the main roam and then utilize the vertical to force back the people lurking towards archives and tellers. Instead, they just challenged that directly, and that definitely went into the favor of RTV. I mean, we just literally saw 3 kills happen all at the same time, and now S2 are fairly limited on what they can accomplish. But the day is still quite young, all things considered. S2 looking to maybe bounce things back here for a CEO attack, which is probably one of the more favorable sites altogether, because again, that window pressure you can build up almost for free when you're on that attacking side. And also, if your opponents are not good at countering Montaigne, then maybe Bio can get a lot of good damage in. But with RTV specializing in Montana's map, I could imagine they know how to counteract it too.
Excited to see how Reality TV deal with their own medicine, really. Wow, that's a sneaky bulletproof. I love that. Just sitting in the leaves. That's cheeky. So they'll be able to have a full view, I think, of the entirety of lobby. And, you know, who knows if S2 are going to be able to spot it. But I am a little concerned about this defense for the same reason that I was concerned about S2's. They've got 1 C4. They've got nothing else to deal with this Monty.
Hopefully they'll...
Wow!
Okay. The long angle from ATM. Definitely boding well for Hat, as he's got that 1.5 optic. A beautiful shot landed onto Amp as well. Now your Lion's gone, so again, that space making, it's more or less on the grenades by reverse, and then Bio for his shield. The Lion scan's no longer there to double down on that play for S2, so a very important gunfight found and won by Hat, for sure.
Hat is just that guy. How dare you challenge Ana de Armas, not 100 Thieves on the long angle?
Glad you didn't forget about the 100 Thieves.
Of course. How could I?
It's
Ana
right
de
there in the
Armas,
name.
if you're listening, contact Hat. Call him.
He's your biggest fan.
Oh, please. Indeed. Wait, hold on. At Hat FPS on Twitter. DM him, please.
Give him a follow as well.
Yeah.
S2 just now getting the elevator wall opened up. There comes the Montaigne attack, and there was the ace playing over on the rappel, but not able to connect the kill, but still seems like S2 fully trying to confirm that play by Bio, and now he's all the way up on the top floor feeding tons of info.
Hat, though, is just kind of chilling. Nah, no way we get the Spider-Man here. The Warden spots him. Ooh, reverse, playing with fire right now. Hat dealt even more damage and finished off by BJL, so the Spider-Man down Skylight ends up working. They get the equalizer onto Hat. They take control of Trump. And really, I think the only way Reality TV are going to be able to kill this Monty is if Valor rotates downstairs. Mr. B lands a beautiful shot onto reverse, though, taking out the Iana. Bio's just in the site. He is in the thick of it. Mr. B's just cutting down everyone as they try to come upstairs and support him, though. And alone Monty is a useless Monty. He tries to challenge, knowing that he's by himself. He loses it, and Giddy cleans it up. Mr. B, the all-important 3K, holding on the front office. He didn't even care about the Monty, because you don't have to deal with the Monty if you take out everyone behind him.
That's exactly the point, too. And even though there was a trade by people sitting out on the rappel, that's the issue. It was from people outside of the building, just in a completely different zip code, and not able to immediately push off of that kill and help assist the Montaigne. I think everyone was outside of the map there, Harrison, because you had a guy on the side rappels looking into the bomb site. There was a guy near, not ATM, but the side, iron bars a bit closer towards the Canto wall. That was the ace of BJL who eventually found a kill. And then you had the guy on one of the, Spider-Man skylights trying to rappel into the building. So, like, the perfect definition of isolated. That is exactly what Bio was. And when you've got three people just kind of looking at you, just proxying you, you're not going to be able to unextend your shield and work a kill. So you are relying on your teammates to haul it into the building and hope that RTV are not expecting that, which, I mean, they did. They had tons of info off the death of Hat, pardon. So they knew that Montaigne wasn't going to accomplish anything because there was just no one there to back him up.
Perfect Monty counter from Reality TV. Really goes to show that if you know how to play something well, you know how to fight it well, too. Reality TV now on match point will bring the Solace. Ana de Armas, our resident Hat, will pick her up. He sees the drone outside. Maybe he'll go for it. I think it was Wi-Fi's. Nope. All right, he didn't end up getting the drone. He only got one from Biologic, but he'll still just continue sprinting around, supporting Tristan, making sure they're not getting droned. And Tristan now, I think it's safe to say Chalet was a warm-up map. This guy is now 13-3, and even though he's having a standout performance, look at everyone else on the roster. The worst they have is 5-5. Everyone's either even or positive, so this is a real team game right now from Reality TV.
Really night and day from Chalet as well.
Absolutely.
It just, like you said, everyone's doing their part right now. Here comes Wi-Fi, able to locate at least where the Solace was a couple seconds ago. It seems like Hat has been able to fall off the roam for the most part, but they acknowledge someone else could be here as well. And BJL, he's got Mr. B's number. He's got the cutoff established from those back rappels, so trying to drop down gold, he'll be punished for doing so. And now they can really start putting a world of hurt onto that player still over by open area. But at least Tristan's here closer towards the first floor elevator, so it's not just one person getting completely soloed out.
He's got the hatch to fall back on, too, if necessary. Yep. Nice little drone hole peek he's got, but he'll be able to fall back down to the site. Maybe Hat. Yeah, Hat's still here. The red hatch is open, but the server hatch is closed. So he's only got he's only got one avenue of escape, and it's very kind of easily cut off from where he is right now. He will eventually be droned out. There's no one holding his doorway, though. So he's able to fall back, but not before claiming another drone. Still a minute 15. It's still 7 drones to play with, though, for S2. So their info game is still looking pretty good.
So the Gemini replicators, you've got Argus cams. I think there's at least one Inox scan too. No, Wi-Fi's reached all of them now at this point, but still boatloads of info here for S2. So really that roam clear just was perfect. It was everything you wanted to accomplish, and now you're starting to potentially hit the bomb site in these next 50 seconds, where the only major set of denial is that C4 by Giddy and the 3 smokes here by Valor. But I am interested to see if S2 can also set up a lurk as well to maybe deny people like Giddy, who were a major point the last time the site was in play.
Like that angle for the nade in red, but sadly Valor not playing close enough for that to affect him. those smoke babes, of course, with the arc of a normal
There's the
grenade.
lurk.
Here's the lurk that you were talking about from BJL, but Giddy's holding on to it. BJL probably not going to be able to make much progress if Giddy continues to hold this angle. Yeah, they do have info. So they know the Warden's here, and he lands a great shot through 2 different cars. Now Garage Control is in the favor of the attack. Valor's not even paying attention to it. BJL's going to come in and maybe get a freebie. Valor just sprints on in and dies to Bio. Tristan able to get 1 kill. Hat's trying to get the planter, but the cover is too great. And although Tristan's got 2 on the round, he won't get any more than that. Wi-Fi with some brilliant plant cover. Unfortunately for Hat, the smoke does not cover the rotate. I bet he knew where the planter was, but he wasn't able to make it sneaky enough. And S2 Esports able to take their 4th point.
Good adaptation as well by S2 not jumping the gun on that lurk, as yes, Giddy was focusing on that part of the map, but that's, also forcing away the Warden from the main point of that execute. And those smoke grenades really a lot more potent in that round. Once S2 had dropped into the building, the timing of that utility was much better in comparison to the last time that bomb site was in play. And again, because Giddy is focusing on that lurk that wasn't already pushed away at the minute mark, now he's looking in that spot with 20 seconds. It's spreading RealityTV very thin, where they don't have a lot of room for that error because they're already down a player from a failed roam attempt on that top floor. Much better job at assessing the threat that you're going to have to focus on when executing into that bomb site and dealing with it pretty well, despite technically losing that gunfight against Giddy.
I'm sure RealityTV, though, still in a comfortable spot as they go back to open area. Their top floor roam. Fearsome. No more Solus, though. I guess just using Solus for lockers, interestingly enough. Maybe to help, like, with the... Like we saw, like, the early drone denial and then trying to stop the plant. Unfortunately for him, though, it was reinforced, so... Wasn't in default. Not much you could do about it. Mr. B, yet again, roaming on the horizontal, sitting here in Tellers and Archives. He got 2 kills last round. And it seems like, like 75-80% of the time, he's getting a kill from here, so I'm not too worried about Mr. B. Last time, Giddy found 2 upstairs as well, while he was supported by Hat. We'll see if S2 Esports make a better job of it. Biologic is on Amaru, and they're going down to the basement. They're playing for a hatch play.
That's what I assume. There aren't many places you can effectively use Amaru unless you're going to just start getting up into the roam clear as fast as you can, but this play could maybe work. RTV at least expecting the player over by printer window, but so far, everyone else in S2, they are completely silent and also getting those people going up marble stairs, making more room for the Amaru. Yeah, just bot walking up there. Definitely a good play. Let's see how well it works.
Here he comes. Up the hatch and immediately killed by Valor. Mr. B, another one before he's traded out. The window player on copy dies instantly too. S2 Esports, I respect it. It went for a gamble, but for now, it's not working out. Valor gets another as Amp tries to make his way into the site, and BJL is now alone. He'll probably die to this main stairs player. Oh, never mind. No, he didn't. However, he is on 1 HP. 1 versus 3 against Valor, Tristan, and Hat. I would not hedge my bets on it. You might have info here, but it doesn't matter as Hat sprays him through the wall. RealityTV shut down the Amaru rush and take the second map.
And I think one of the smaller problems there for RTV is they just realized, like, okay, no one's on the top floor. Printer window is already open. No one's even, like, droning from lobby or anywhere else on the map. Where could they be coming from? It has to be basement. Like, that's the only place that you haven't confirmed, and that's just where S2 is. So it was just the lack of the element of surprise there for S2, not setting up like any fake attacks in that round, just fully committing to the rush, and RTV realizing that and then just countering the positions that they're hopping in from. I mean, that's a textbook way to deny a rush, and S2 just not setting up any fake mini games. It helped RTV do that even better.
Not only that, but I really like that Valor didn't even kill the Amaru like instantly. Bio had time.
Took a second or two, yeah.
Bio had time to look the other way, then turn around and be like, "Oh crap, there's a mute there," before Valor killed him. So it's not even like, it's not even like RealityTV were instantly like, "Oh, Amaru." Valor took a sec, and Bio unfortunately just went up the hatch looking the wrong way. But all in all, a great bounce back from RealityTV, a great bounce back from Tristan as well. I think going 16-4. So not only did he have 16 kills, he also only died in the rounds they lost. quite the performance coming off of a 2-7 game. But when we come back, we'll have the replays and the stats to go further in depth. Don't go anywhere. We've got map 3 Skyscraper coming up after this break.
Hard's on a double though, and he finds the third through the smoke.
Just an ult. Getting into 3K with an ult.
With 3 seconds left, Silent lands the pre-fire. Nobody can kill him in time.
He clutches it out. What a play from the alibi as the lobby player goes unchecked.
Welcome back. If you missed map number 2, it was won by the same scoreline as map number 1, only RealityTV tie the map count 1-1. So we've had 2 7-4s, John. Both teams looking incredible in each of their respective wins, and now we move on to Skyscraper.
And honestly, looking at map number 2, the way it played out, a lot of ideas that were brought out by S2, it just felt like they weren't as experienced with those plays in the game day environment. Maybe they've scrimmed bank a couple of times, like, okay, let's bring out the Monte for a gold walk-up. That'll probably work. But then they didn't have anyone instantly backing him up. That ended up failing against RTV, who was pretty well versed with bringing a Montane on the map. And another good example of that potential lack of proper game day experience is when they were trying to go for that Amara rush. I called it during the round itself of, if you don't have anyone, creating fake pressure, everyone's gonna catch on quick that you're just doing one of these like fancy rush plays that happen once in a blue moon, and they're gonna get hard counter. Not only that, but just in general, you know, picking apart other places on the map to help assist the Amaru, it was non-existent in that execute too. So even the rush itself just wasn't good.
If we look at the stats, so these are actually the wrong stats. These are the stats from last map, but I can read you the correct stats. If we go to Reality TV, map number 2, Tristan went 16-4, 2-0 on entry, a 100% cost, with John a monstrous 1.96 rating. Hat
Safe.
not far behind, 10-9 with a 1.06. Valor 8-7 with a 1.06. Definitely the standout players. Meanwhile, on S2 Esports, Wi-Fi was 12-8. He had a 1.23. He was doing pretty well for himself, but no one else on his team having a positive rating, surprisingly, including Reverse.
Funny enough as well, now that we have the stats actually back up, correctly fixed up, thank you, they're ready for that. It wasn't really a lot of that, you know, early explosivity that we saw. You mentioned that very well with the entry department, more specifically for like Hat and Tristan. But even after the early round presence not being there, it's kind of like what we talked about during the run of show. It's like during that mid round presence as well. If you have that small fall off, it leads to a major snowball effect for S2. And we definitely saw that here on Bank, as Reality TV were pretty solid towards, you know, the end round execute and just making sure that S2 couldn't get away with really anything cheeky. I think a good example of that is when BJL tried on 2 separate occasions to lurk a 0 into garage. Both those attempts just completely failed, either by him dying or just having to rotate somewhere else because they already knew it as it jiggles up.
Yeah, and moving on to Skyscraper, this is a map that Reality TV, again, you know, they played a couple times in stage 3, and of course, you know, won it every time because they're Reality TV. They won it, I think it was 8-6. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was 8-6. It was an overtime against One Shot.
One Shot, yep.
And then they played it again in playoffs, in the finals up against Aerial Rise. They won it 7-5. Meanwhile, S2, no idea. I'm actually, well, I guess we could look at Favelas, because Bio IGL'd that team. They won Sky 7-3 over Aqualix, or I guess Bio won 7-3 over Aqualix, and I think that was their only the only play of the map they had.
So I'm trying to find the other game where RTV played Skyscraper. It wasn't against Aqualix. That was a
No, it was the finals.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, it was against Aerial.
That's probably why I couldn't find it. Oh yeah, I remember the play as well by the one. That makes total sense. Well, we'll stop looking at Wikipedia. We'll take a look at the operator bans instead, and S2 still opting to ban the Dokkaebi. Definitely still a little odd, but she's not bad on this map, so it's not like, you know, a ban thrown away. It's just probably more personal preference, which sometimes is the better go-to. The Ying and Valkyrie followed up here by RTV. I haven't really seen them, you know, play Ying all that often here for this map, and probably not wanting to play a Warden as much as they did on Bank. Can't really fault them for banning her either.
Yeah, all pretty, with the exception of Dokkaebi, I guess. All pretty standard, all things considered. So we know Reality TV like this map. We know Bio likes this map, but does the rest of his team? A lot of S2 Esports, again, you know, being newer players like Amp, like Reverse, like BJL, you know, I wonder if they're comfortable with a map like Skyscraper, which has its own host of complexities now that it's back in the meta. And the way that side pick works in SCS, if it goes to map 3, you know, whoever has the better round differential throughout the first 2 maps gets to choose the side. But since both teams were even, it was up to a coin flip. S2 won it, and they opted to start on defense, which is a little odd considering that we typically think of Skyscraper as a more attacker-leaning map.
I think they're just looking to just set a tempo on just a weaker side of the map, and then just seeing what they can then accomplish on the attack. Just kind of get a feel with how Reality TV are going to want to play throughout the whole map. As you kind of transition with how you want to play on the attack, pretty, you know, similarly when you go on the defense, despite you normally being a little more passive. I'm definitely interested to see if RTV want to bring out the Montaigne at all on this map, as he is decent in a couple of bomb sites, more specifically if you want to execute towards the black stairs and doorway heading into the bomb site of, you know, karaoke. But so far, RTV not opting for that, instead bringing out a boatload of hard breach to probably help assist their office overtake and maybe have somebody rotate over to Geisha as well. So it's not just a default funnel into both Shrine and Terrace, which I absolutely despise.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Caster hates funneling because it's bad. I'm so surprised.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Reverse using his gadget to spot the ace charge because he wouldn't have been able to detect it otherwise, and able to impact it away before he can fully open a breach in the VIP wall. Spotting more drones, spotting the player outside the window, and also seeing that there's Claymore, so he can't just run out, but he can impact, and he's going to go for it. The ace completely unaware.
Well done.
Mr. B, the first casualty, but Valor has an answer. Hopping into Geisha as the attack is very spread out. Getting that equalizer. Valor looking like he wants to go for more. Wi-Fi's got his cross, though. Or sorry, that's not Wi-Fi. That's Biologic who has his cross, though. And it's a really easy pickup there to keep the man advantage for the defense.
Nade tossed out. You still have Hat as well over by Geisha. He connects onto one, but Bio's still good in that position. There's the trade now by the Lion, but someone's up the wave staircase. He's got to wait for his teammate, but no, Hat just says screw it. He nets another one over towards Geisha, and now that leaves just Wi-Fi. And what a play by the Lion. Just sitting pretty and shooting straight over inside of Geisha. What a play by them, and clearly, for the side of S2, they were not anticipating Geisha to be that much of a hot commodity.
Now, especially with Mr. B droning and the Solus distracted, you know, maybe thinking that it was going to be more of a split push than it was. Valor getting that opening, or not really opening kill, but the opening that the attackers needed to start to shove themselves through T. Even though S2 Esports were pretty good about the trades, leave it to Hat to just step up and end the round. He has been having a standout performance so far through the first couple maps. What did he go last map?
Say at least 3-1 on entry, and I think he had like 10 kills
He was
overall.
10 and 9. Yeah, so he's 20. He's 20 and 17 through the past 2 maps right now, and getting, I thought it was 3, getting a 4K in the past round. You know, even though Tristan definitely woke up last map, but Hat, I think, has been the most consistent player so far through the last couple maps for RTV, and it seems to be a continuing trend in map 3.
And jokingly enough, the default funnel between both Terrace and Shrine, I bet S2 were anticipating that more, especially with the info that Solus had gathered in the early round of, okay, they're going to Selma open the single wall, they've got a guy in cams with claymores, the usual, shtick for that attack and clear. So that allowed a bit of surprise there for RTV to hop into Geisha the second that wall had been opened up and net a couple of kills, and then force S2 on a pretty awkward rotate where it was just constant trades coming left, right, and center, and with RTV just more prepared for that Geisha attack than S2 were, obviously, that gave them the upper hand, more specifically Hat, who was always in the right place to take a gunfight and then just be basically like tip for tap against S2.
He's going to be looking to do it again as he opens up this Geisha barricade and begins droning in. We're going to put the pressure early on this defense for the second round in a row. He and Valor were the ones responsible for taking in, but there's a bandit trick this time that the attackers are not wary of. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't EMP a bandit before it destroys your utility. That's just the way the shock wire works. It doesn't actually activate until it's put all the way down, and then it activates instantaneously. Nitro goes out on the balcony. It's unsuccessful. EMP goes out, but the bandit rotates back. Luckily, there's a nade. RealityTV, they're not going to fall for the same trick twice. Giddy makes sure that wall gets open, and the attackers have Geisha in their hands once again.
Still a great start for RTV as well. We can maybe have Giddy just lurk underneath as well, going up either wave stairs to help deal with drum, or even go towards black stairs as well. Just more angles to the side of RealityTV, but of course there is still somebody roaming underneath, that being reversed, so Giddy has to be very alert in this position unless he just goes back up above, which he ends up doing so not too big of an issue. RTV still looking to have that man advantage, now transitioning a lot of their attacking prowess over towards Dragon, then moving into Shrine.
Now that Giddy's helped open that wall, his job on that side of the map is pretty much done. Now he'll rotate and leave Geisha to Valor and Hat, who did an excellent job of it last round, so why the hell not? Tristan's already made his way up towards Shrine, is now cutting off this T doorway where the defenders are still sending pre-fires. About a minute left in the round. Wi-Fi eats a lot of damage, but Tristan tries to stand up. He un-ADSs and dies. Mr. B's there for the refrag, though, keeping the man advantage. You can see they're also very aware of a potential flank from Reverse, who is that man you highlighted playing downstairs. Amp is close on this door with a shotgun, but his barrel might be sticking out. Yeah, they see it. They know he's here. And he's going to try and land the pre-fire, but the gas canister comes out. That allows Amp to try and fall back, and the time is dwindling. 25 seconds. They've got to worry about this wall, which they'll start to open. They're worrying about the Kiva barriers, too, which I think they've also opened. More gas canisters coming out. The last one from Amp as Valor makes his presence known towards Geisha. Gets that opening into the site that the attackers are looking for. Amp is the only one left in T with Reverse covering the long angle, but he's so low on HP. The time, this could be saved by one important kill. Amp gets one onto Hat. 2 versus 3. 2 versus 2. Mr. B's got to get off the plan, and Amp saves it! S2! They still win the round thanks to a smoke in a corner.
And having the Solus guard the back hallway as well, really letting the smoke just let it rip with that SMG and shotgun. A beautiful play by both defenders alive. And RTV, it was a great start in that mid-round. Their trades were spot on. And again, transitioning over from that Geisha-focused attacking point to then moving back into Dragon and Shrine was a good moment by them. But that still costed them a lot of time and just less people to then focus on the Black Stairs position, where Reverse was able to fall back into on the Solus role, which again, him just sitting there and just being a potential threat, that gave less options that RTV had to deal with the smoke of Amp, as he had all those toxic smokes, keeping RTV at bay and allowing him to also isolate 2 separate attackers and then force the ace off the planter. That was a fantastic start by RTV, but an even better finish for S2.
Mr. B had the perfect plant spot to not die in too. Like, he was covered from pretty much everything. You gotta also wonder how Amp got out of the position he was in. The attackers knew where he was. They saw his gun barrel. I mean, maybe they were just out of nades. Giddy probably should have landed. Giddy probably should have landed the pre-fire anyway. And also, you know, the coverage they had on site, I don't think RealityTV needed to be as aggressive against Amp as they were. So, you know, unfortunate for RealityTV here. It should be up 2-0 probably, but now it's tied 1-1. That will force S2 at the very least onto a different site. They'll operate on Office and Exhibition. That's typically the secondary here, with Barbecue usually being the tertiary. Reverse still on his lonesome downstairs, roaming with that Solus, leaving the other 4 in and around the site. And it looks like RealityTV are attacking this much the same way as they were clearing, with starting opening with the VIP wall.
Both pocket EMPs gone. I think that was used to maybe help with the... No, what did he use his pocket EMPs for? I've got, frankly, no clue, because they didn't get the single wall opened up.
I think he was trying to find the Cade Claw and then just missed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was attempted to, because the Thermite was there to get the single wall opened up, or at least someone was, and okay, Hatch just inside of Terrace from the single door, nets himself 2 separate kills. Screw the hard breach, let's just get in the building and find kills, apparently. That's the memo here for RTV.
And that's Hat.
Just being
That's
Hat.
what he does. He walks in and takes those, and now they're going to back off because RealityTV figure, all right, we've got this 2-man advantage. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We do not want to give S2 Esports any sort of foothold like we did in the previous round, because these guys are good enough to capitalize on it. Hat still flirting with death. Amp just around the corner. Minute 17, they're making good time in this 5v3. Almost catches the smoke, but Amp is better. Mr. B's got a trade, though. Amp looking for another, gets lit up by Tristan and is stuck behind this bar. He'll try to gas out the opposite side towards VIP and keep this attack at bay, stalling and giving Reverse time to position himself perfectly to kill Mr. B, but he's not going to live very long, and neither will Amp. RealityTV close out round number 3 off that play from Hat and retake the lead.
And that's what the offense of RTV is just best at doing, just spotting opportunities where they could maybe make a play to tip the tide in their favor, and they just book it. After that, Hat just springs into action, kills Bio and one of the main anchors of VJL, and that forces just a complete switch. by S2. You've got them playing a lot closer to the chest. You've got Amp really focusing in on Terrace while the rest of RTV are still setting up across the map. That was just a power play, simply put it, by Hat. Not only doing so much in round number 1 of Tea Room over towards Geisha, but now from the minibar / terrace area of the map, also doing a boatload for his team, despite finding only half the kills in that round compared to T.
Yeah. S2 Esports, back to the drawing board, back to office. They're more than happy to retry these sites, probably figuring, you know what? I don't think Hat's gonna do it again. And I mean, why would you expect him to? I don't think he will either. He's now on Thatcher rather than the Lion, so no more impact EMPs, much larger radius. You don't have to go searching for the Cade Claw. You just chuck the EMP at the wall. It's going to get it no matter what, and Mr. B's going to be able to open things for free now.
Well, S2, I could imagine, are not going to allow the same silly play by Hat to slide through. And speaking of RealityTV, they're also not going to allow these walls to be shut still throughout the round 2. Instead of just having 2 pocket EMPs on Hat, he is just sticking to the Thatcher. They really want to start this round with a bang, literally and figuratively as well, trying to make sure that these K-Claws are no longer a threat. Oh, that's why the EMPs didn't work. He threw them so far away from one another that the pocket EMPs could not get both of them at the same time. That was a pretty cool idea by BJL. That was the actual thing he did last round. That's really cool.
Knowing that they're going to be taking impact EMPs, you can kind of abuse that. And then he went and picked it up and rotated it to the other wall after they already used them. So I love that play. What is this smoke?
Oh, will it like hit the wall at the same time so we can't bandit trick?
Oh, no,
idea?
it's to
Or, like,
burn the wall
ceiling?
mine. So they know there's discs there and they're able to burn it.
Yeah,
They're just trying to stop the bandit trick just to make sure, because they've doubled up before. And RealityTV are making sure they're not going to be able to double up again. So they end up getting the wall open, I think. But now they have to worry about this bandit. Well, he chose wrong, unfortunately. So that means, you know, that's going to be open. Luckily, he does lose his other ace charge, though. Unluckily for S2, that's just the ace. They still have Mr. B. So if they want to hard breach even more, then RealityTV are free to.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with that, you know, smoke through the floor, but, you know, RTV, they're pretty creative. I thought they had a vision there going on, but besides the point, RTV now looking to move across, starting out from Geisha Room. Seems like Reverse is aware of that, though, having Solus available. And I'll say, yeah, even having someone prone on their cam, obviously Reverse cannot, you know, challenge that because, like you mentioned, Mr. B is outside. So he's comfortably able to drone in Tristan, so he can now start making space for the rest of his teammates. So now having that back wall opened up in the bomb site, having someone still by that, you know, sword window, everything is really going according to plan. And now RTV as well spotted Amp, and the smoke's gone. One of your only stall ops left alive.
Not a great start, especially as Hat now just walks in behind the bar, taking this control. Valor will get finished off by the impact, but Mr. B's getting this plant down, and there's not anything from S2 to stop it. Reverse is not in the proper position to deny. Both his teammates are now dead, and he's got to come up from the staircase, and he can't make any headway at all. RealityTV snuff out S2 on round number 4 with some great VIP and site control.
Yeah, not just putting all your eggs into one basket of just having those walls opened up, having someone on that single window hopping into exhibition room. They took the time to then move across the entire map and then start putting in extra pressure points that, you know, S2 clearly were not expecting at the very beginning. Although they had Solus giving in for their people over by Geisha, maybe just fell on deaf ears, or Amp caught in a rotate was just killed. That could have been the main thing that happened instead. But needless to say, once RTV found that opening kill on the smoke, they realized there weren't many other options that S2 had to stop them from planting. So they all just book it into the bomb site. You got people pushing in from top house to make sure no one has that long angle to kill anyone by that terrace doorway leading towards minibar. They got people pushing in from that part of the map too to help assist the people towards the bomb site from that back wall. And again, there's still someone on that single window, so no one can rotate between bomb sites comfortably. Again, the accountability there was flawless for RTV.
10 seconds left.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
5 seconds to go.
if you would please turn your attention to the left side of your screen, Mr. B Monty is back. And they're doubling up, too. They're doubling down with Monty and Osa. Still bringing 2 hard breachers, with Tristan flexing onto Ace. And then Giddy. on Zoe as entry. So very curious to see where this Monty goes, because he's on an operator we see a lot on Skyscraper, kind of for the same reasons why we don't see him a lot on like Border or Villa. Like so many of these floors are so many of the important floors are destructible, but there are large areas of the map that aren't, like that whole Dragon Shrine, right? This bar area, it's very intermittent. It's kind of strange actually, looking at it from a like overhead point of view, but oh, that's dangerous. The run out, hearing the EMPs and then immediately acting off of it. Biologic gets the down.
Oh,
unfortunately, it's no confirm though. And with the Kiba barrier going on the window, Hat's probably gonna be able to just swing in and save his teammate for free.
That really does suck, because Bio played that so well, not expecting anyone to look at that run out. Yep, there goes the resurrection, so Valor can still do his job. And there's still more pocket EMP. It's deployed. The Cade's not close enough to start throwing out that Electro Claw. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's just Valor is a lot more worse for wear in this position. And RTV, we talked about the Montaigne earlier. I think he's just over by Black Door. Yeah, so he's just going to go in the old-fashioned way where most Montaignes like to set up at, but S2 are probably expecting that, so they don't have a rotate hole instead. So there's a lot more ground Mr. B has to cover here with the shield up.
And now, whoops. I just hit Windows L, bro. I just accidentally locked my computer. Okay, I'm back. I got the clean feed. In comes Mr. B. In comes the Osa, smoking off the hallway to allow the Osa shield to go down. I love that play. And now they've got the full control of this hallway to fight against the defender's shield. Mr. B, of course, on an indestructible surface, so he can't be C4'd. Looking to maybe try and walk into karaoke.
They have a Selma, too.
The Selma will end up opening that top black wall. Valor working his way in from the back, considering they don't need his hard breaching anymore, and Valor can be quite the nasty player, but RealityTV won't be the ones to find the opening pick. That goes to BJL, getting the opener on Giddy, that entry operator. They don't really need too much of his utility, so it's probably not the biggest pick in the world, but it does slow down the attack. Now 38 seconds left. Hat's gonna try and make his stand in the hallway. He gets one as Valor dies. Amp trades back Hat, so now the hallway player is dead. Tristan's gonna try and come in to help. He gets reversed. Mr. B with a pistol kills Amp, and he's gonna try and get this plant down. Still controlling the mezzanine is Tristan. He cuts off the only defender in range to deny, and BJL's alone in a 1 versus 2, low HP. The Monty alive, and there's nothing he can do. Mr. B's just calling out the info. Tristan can play all the way back and just wait for Mr. B to tell him when the diffuser is being hit, and that's exactly what Tristan's gonna do outside the door, but walks back in and dies. How is Mr. B in a 1 versus 1 as the Monty? Yeah, that's pretty good as long as he plays it correctly, continuing to back up, not exposing his feet, not backing himself into a corner as well. BJL simply does not have time to win this. Mr. B is just going to play the clock, and there it is. The round is over. RealityTV go up 4-1, a melee to add insult to injury. And again, it came down to a 2v2, John. I have to say, it was a bit scary, but still, the Mr. B Monty prevails.
But the right call was made, not only by Mr. B to just forget about that karaoke plant, because there's just so many angles that S2 have looking in the opposing bomb site to kill Mr. B when he gets that plant down, even if there is a smoke grenade assisting him there. Not only Mr. B beginning to focus on T-Room, but having a teammate also go down from T-Room as well. Tristan's play to rotate over towards Shrine because no one was looking in that direction, especially after they killed Valor. That was the perfect recipe to make sure that RealityTV still have a fighting chance after both Tristan and Mr. B win their 1-for-1s. That's the 2v2 they need. Tristan has perfect coverage as well, playing by Shrine as to where Mr. B was planting on in that position. So it allowed a complete bounce back for RTV, and this really is the first half that they need to make sure that, you know, this decider map pick was the right call to let kind of, you know, swim away into map 3 exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like Skyscraper was the right call for RealityTV.
Yep.
Especially, you know, lest we forget, S2 had the opening map ban, so RealityTV had the choice between Villa and Skyscraper, and I definitely agree with the decision given those two map picks. You also got to give it up, you know, like you said, the positioning from Tristan was really good, but also, you know, the fact that we know he's mechanically nasty, but winning that fight against Reverse, having to jump through the Shrine window and turn 90 degrees, that is not an easy fight to win at all. And Reverse was already looking at him, so that was a round-winning kill there from Tristan. You got to give it up to him.
Oh, wow.
Well,
yeah,
I admire
my sentiment exactly.
I admire the vision. But
Covered the bomb diffuser.
I don't know about that one.
It
Reverse.
seems like RTV had their glasses on too, because they also
Yeah.
had the vision.
I think I would have maybe waited to hear the rappel first. He just sent it, bro.
They were just on the ground looking at the window. Like, I don't even know if the window was meleeed at all too. Not to where there was like a huge opening, but just knowing the window was open a little bit. Yeah, there might have been a cam on
Oh,
it,
he
but
saw the cam.
I
No,
don't-
he saw the cam underneath, like on the floor, and ran out to
Oh.
try and kill them while they were droning.
Yeah, well, we saw the vision, and unfortunately he did not go.
At least he admits it was a 1-for-1 play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The humility of it all. Definitely
Yeah.
respect that there by Reverse. RTV, though, definitely glad they get a kill essentially for free in this position. Wi-Fi maybe looking to tip the tide back in their favor, but he didn't spot the head of the thermite, so he just hops back in. And speaking of hop in, they're just in the bomb site, Harrison. They've got a double to triple man advantage. Valor's injured, sure, but Amp you still have to worry about. He racks up two at the moss.
What
with
a
the
nade!
grenade from underneath, perfectly tossed by Tristan. And now it's BJL in a 1 versus 2. He's in the back of Dragon, so surely RTV can start forcing that post-plant position. But at the moment, BJL can just slip past the Iona. He might win this gunfight, and he does so. Why is Mr. B planting? There's no coverage in that position. And now it's a 1v1 with the Cade having case control.
Where did they think BJL was? They killed Giddy from VIP. I don't know how Mr. B thought he had the luxury of going for the plant there, especially with Tristan downstairs. Why didn't he just rotate up? RealityTV had such an advantage with that opening kill from Mr. B, and then getting into the site and winning their fights. Yeah, Amp had an answer, but the nade put him in the dirt pretty quickly. And then they just threw away the lead because BJL is holding on the main stairs and Mr. B misplays. Tristan's drone is downstairs. He's going to dedicate quite a bit of time to rotating it up. But he's got to have some sort of info to play off of. BJL doesn't know he's spotted. Now he does. He turns around and shoots the drone. Gets the hell out of there. He's got a really nice angle on the breaches. Remember, Tristan's going to have to vault through because of the ace charges if he wants to get into this bomb site. He has no idea where BJL is sitting, and he takes the wrong angle. BJL, the 1 versus 3 off of some incredibly unfortunate misplays, I'll say, from RealityTV.
That's a nicer way of putting it, I'd have to say. Just the recognition of what is going on in that 3v1. Yeah, that is just the biggest issue. I guess Mr. B assumed that Tristan was on the top floor, like nading from the samurai window, and it banked off and killed the guy there, because that would add up. But you know, maybe the call of I'm walking up house stairs would maybe give that away. I'm not too sure. Obviously, we cannot hear RTV, but still, we'll look at the bright side. 4-2 half, not horrible at all. That's pretty good, if not on the upper side of default. So now it's just RTV, you know, hoping they can win a few rounds on Tea and Karaoke, obviously, and then hope that maybe their extensions on Barbecue could go pretty swimmingly too, because honestly, I feel like Office is probably one of the weaker bomb sites out of the 4 you can pick for this map, but that is just, you know, my personal opinion.
I don't know. Barbecue is tough because Geisha is so tough to hold on to as a defender. And once the attackers take Geisha, you know, it's impossible to play in Kitchen. It's tough to play in Kitchen no matter what, but it just becomes impossible once the attackers take Geisha. And then, you know, not only do they have vertical above sight, but it also gives them that foothold to start the top floor clear. And then Bedroom is just... Bedroom's just hard.
We don't need to explain
Yeah,
that.
so, you know, even that, and that's kind of, you know, one of the reasons why this is an attacker-friendly map, or why we think of it as typically an attacker-friendly map, because T is good, Office is okay, the other sites are not great, and as RealityTV try to get aggressive, they try to pull a bait and switch on Wi-Fi, and boy, does it not work. Tristan will have to take a seat, sit this round out, and his team will play in a 4v5.
Especially with your... Well, my player doing that, definitely a big upset. Just less utility overall to let those deployable shields still be around. Would it matter as much because there's a Flores? Probably not. But the more the merrier. You'd have probably a bigger impact with those grenades in the late round, since Wi-Fi and Reverse have 2 of them in their back pocket. And speaking of which, now that they know there's no roamer playing underneath, they're going to just set up, maybe gather some info, and then maybe utilize those grenades to kill anyone who's on any type of soft flooring. Not a bad idea whatsoever.
Reverse now joining his team upstairs. Bandit of Giddy, of course, not able to trick that wall thanks to the nades and thanks to, of course, an ace charge too, being relatively quick to open. Reverse really wants to walk up black stairs. More nades from below could come sailing at the defender's feet since Reverse still has both and Wi-Fi is now joining him. Of course, the spot where Valor is sitting is unnadeable from below, but you can always send one up that staircase, bank off the wall. It's exactly what Reverse is going to try and do. Valor hears it. He's going to start pushing down the barbed wire, maybe revealing his location, but of course with a shotgun, I should be in range to one pump, but he gets caught out. I think Amp just walked in and killed him or caught him on the staircase. Either way, Valor a little too aggressive for his own good. S2 Esports now lead 5 versus 3.
That was just perfectly done. Having Amp to make sure once the smoke commits to that kill, he is just stuck in the staircase. Now no one's on that shield. Mr. B looking to take that position, and he does down Amp. I believe case control now, technically speaking, but he's one of the only people alive. Wow, what a snapshot on the player towards that rappel. He might just win the round completely, but finally, he's taken care of by Wi-Fi before too much carnage ensues. But now it's a 1v2 for Giddy, but there's still a guy by Geisha. Good attempt by Mr. B altogether, but just too much to handle for the poor sap.
Yeah, there's a stack up on black stairs that he just really couldn't account for, considering one was climbing the stairs and one had already vaulted over. It would have had to be a tremendous flick to get both of them there. But RealityTV, I think, just playing too aggressively with Tristan's run out, Valor playing on the black stairs and so on. S2 Esports were just in the right places at the right times to capitalize on that. And RealityTV, they're going to play T again. They'll play T, I imagine, very differently as well. We'll see a completely different round, and I think that's probably going to change too with Tristan being alive, able to exude his influence on site, help protect Valor's shield so the smoke doesn't have to move away from the nade. That might be a big part of that too, but just all in all, we should see a very different defense.
S2 realizing as well that there were no roamers on the bottom floor, so they're going to heavily emphasize that lurk play that they were roughly doing last round, but double downing on it as well. They've got 3 sets of grenades. They've got the Nook, the best lurking operator in the game on the attack, I think most people can say, and they're still going to have people like Amp who could potentially sit near that black doorway. I saw for a second that he was on Osa, but now switching back to Thermite, maybe still having a bunch of hard breach if they want to also go in from Geisha, since you have those grenades again to get that single wall opened up, and then maybe getting someone towards black. Either way, I could imagine we still have some, people playing underneath on the attacking side of S2. It's just, will there be anyone by RTV to maybe challenge that directly? It seems like so far that could be the case, but Mr. B, he's close to house stairs, so if he wants to fall back up above, he most certainly could do so.
Something we didn't comment on either.
He's got pocket.
Nook was unbanned.
Yeah.
So this is our first Nook. And yeah, you're right. He doesn't have nades.
Huh.
So, I mean, there it is. The EMP is going to work. Allow them to go ahead, open up that VIP single wall. Mr. B is going to instantly run out and get a kill onto BJL. Wow, I didn't think he was going to get away with that.
Well,
there goes your Nook.
Yeah, I guess Amp and BJL were not expecting that, because I would assume Amp was still close by. Really good play by Mr. B, I suppose. The gamble paid dividends. And yeah, now one of your main lurk players is not going to be a factor at all. You still are going to have Reverse and Wi-Fi playing underneath, not only to, again, break some of those bandit batteries that could be, bless you, that could be on the
I muted VMix, bro. Walls. Why did you say bless you?
I didn't think you could mute that quickly. I'm sorry, Harrison.
No, I have it on my side. I have 2 monitors now, remember?
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, I can actually mute when I mean, I've always alt-tabbed like when I sneeze anyway, but all good. Nade goes up, not going to deal damage to Valor, sends out a smoke grenade, but Amp has the cutoff once again. Valor playing top black with not a lot of survivability because he decides to walk out. I mean, he's kind of forced to, yeah, but why would you not stack up more Wamaya discs or more ADSs on that position to prevent that? That's the exact same play that he died to in the previous round. So it was a good 5v4 for RealityTV. Is now a 4v4 with no smoke. They'll start to open the karaoke wall too to give a really long crossfire to Biologic, pretty much cleaving the site in half with that angle. But wow, okay, Tristan is going to destroy Reverse on those black stairs. Bio gets a refrag on a Mr. B. Wi-Fi follows it up onto Hat, meaning this is a 2 versus 3. Giddy and Tristan both on the site. They're just going to try and stop a Dragon walk up with Giddy covering the mezzanine all the way from Drum. 35 seconds now for the attack to play with, and Tristan, an odd angle to take, will lose out the fight. They now know where Giddy is as they spot him with the cam, and Bio using that angle on the window. Like I said, cleaving the site in half. Great angles here for him to play with. It shuts the round down. Now we're tied.
I think the idea for both the Wamai and Bandit, I believe Giddy and Tristan, was just to maybe 2-for-1 kill the guy who's lurking across the map. Then they can both focus in on the player hopping in from Black while Bio is still just stuck on the window rappel. Both those defenders being able to avoid Bio on that angle based on where they were positioned on that round. But with the guy lurking around from Shrine still getting a kill, that forces the hand of, I think it was just Giddy stuck over by Drum to now cross over into that line of fire. And yeah, that just was the exact opposite of what RTV wanted to have happen. But with the way that the player was over towards Shrine, he could still isolate the guy who's stuck in sight and then have to focus on the guy who could maybe be over by Drum. S2 still able to coordinate really effectively, not only in the early round after losing a player so impactfully like BJL, but also in the late round being able to convert back up above and just still make sure they're able to spot the weaknesses that RealityTV have in their defensive holds.
Now RealityTV, after taking a 4-2 half, and to be honest, honestly, should have probably been a 6-0. Looking at the rounds they lost, right, there was that 2v4 where Amp denied Plant just sitting in a corner with a shotgun, and then the 1v3 from BJL. RealityTV had a good chance to win every single round of the half. But now we find ourselves tied, 4-4. S2 Esports setting up for another Amaru play with Wi-Fi, this time going downstairs and probably coming off that office hatch. That's usually what we see. It's already open for him as well, so it's not going to make nearly as much noise as like the play we saw from Bio on Bang.
Definitely don't know how well it's going to work out for S2 specifically. The last time they brought in Amaro, that just miserably backfired, but it seems like they're not going to be putting all their stock into just Wi-Fi, you know, going up that hatch and trying to make a huge play. They're trying to set up Amp, getting that single wall opened up like we saw last time with both himself and the Nook doing the job with the couple of those pocket EMPs. BGL just setting up to do so once again. Now they know it's only a Bandit battery there, so that single wall gets opened up. Rest of S2 now starting to enter the building, and for RTV, they only have one player in sight, technically speaking. That could be a big issue.
Wi-Fi is just waiting for the call from his team. Spots the hatch open. There's a bulletproof that he'll shoot. I don't know if that is going to keep him hidden. He maybe just revealed his entire position and intentions to the rest of the defense. Although RealityTV might also just think that, hey, there's a guy below and not know that it's an Amaru. In the meantime, Reverse gets the opening kill onto Mr. B. The Solus now dead. Still weird that these teams are playing the Solus in kind of a lurk solo role. I think, again, she can be better used in and around the team, but the next person to stop Reverse is going to be Giddy hiding behind the drum. He'll take the swing. Here's the Iana trying to go for a clone, and okay, Reverse, that was not smart, I have to say. Bio walks on in. Valor refrags Wi-Fi, so there goes the Amaru. BJL is there to strike back against Valor. The VIP doorway held from BJL gets his second kill, and Amp is planting. Giddy's in a 1 versus 3, and he's stuck in terrace.
On a really good spot for Giddy whatsoever, trying to basically play the role of an attacker now with S2 having full site control and proper info where Giddy is in this 1 versus 3, and there's even Bio, I believe, lurking around from the outside. There it is, the back shot to confirm it on the Bandit. S2 now taking the lead, I believe it'd be, after winning 3 straight rounds in a row in their second half.
You said, that was the what to kill Giddy?
I don't need to repeat it. He shot him in the back, Harrison. Like, you have such a rotten mind.
I already wrote bedroom, and then they switched it. I hate this team. All right, all good. I'll cross it out on my notes.
Really regretting your vote for RTV now after that blunder and your note-taking?
Yeah, I really am. So that office play from the Amaru itself didn't really work out, but I do appreciate S2 Esports properly setting up for it this time. You know, having the breach open, having enough pressure on the site to go for it. And, you know, the Amaru itself died, but I think it created enough space for S2 to get a foothold. Also got to hand it to BJL coming up those house stairs at the perfect time as the Nook. You know, really playing that lurk operator to perfection. Getting those that two-piece. That gives S2 Esports the lead, as you said. RealityTV now switching sites. They haven't been able to win T, haven't been able to win Office. They'll have to go back to one of them if they want to win this map, at least in regulation.
10 seconds to go.
Barbecue will be our next site. An Ella and a Cap can now in play for RealityTV. So they're going full traps.
Attackers are
Just
heading out to
trying to get as simplistic as you can. It's the old saying, when in doubt, just run trap operators. And it typically tends to work. Can't really fault RTV for that, especially when you have a lot of the map to roam with. There's a lot of opportunities where those Capcan traps could just get ignored by someone gathering info, and then they just either get killed or lose a lot of their HP. And now you have info as well with the help of those EDDs if you know where you've set them up. Same thing kind of applies for, you know, Hat, for example, except you're just getting info, not so much finding a kill. Mr. B spots out the Gemini replicator, some attacker information off the board for a couple seconds, and Hat, speaking of the devil, will net a kill on Wi-Fi, who just barged into Office and I guess didn't have info that the Ella was there. Not too sure how that happened so quickly.
I think it may have been a missed drone from the
Maybe?
team. We got Valor rocking the bandit trick here, already dealing with one of Amp's Selma charges. Still two more for the Ace to use. Valor gonna protect himself a little more and end up reinforcing the wall to drum. Mr. B gets a follow-up onto Reverse, who is lurking still around the exhibition area. Now 5 versus 3, favoring RealityTV. And S2 Esports, not a lot to show for it. Both their players pushing the house side die, and they haven't been able to open Geisha yet.
I would say they'll most likely be able to at some point. Actually, the wall's still electrified, so maybe not, because they can't do any vertical. That's in the bomb site. So yeah, things are looking rather linear for the side of S2. They might just need to get their hands dirty and hope they can maybe isolate this guy of Tristan who's stuck in karaoke, because they have Amp on the cutoff and also Bio playing outside towards the black doorway. And BJL, if no one knows he's there, he could maybe net a kill, but that's still a very big risk.
A lot of damage being done to Mr. B and Amp in that gunfight. Mr. B coming away the loser, as he's now in the red, but Amp not too healthy himself. A minute down, and Bio will finally walk in, but it's right into a Gujmot. The swing in comes from Amp, and he dies to Tristan as well. Valor's cutting off the window, and RealityTV shut down any chance for S2 to win that round, and we're all tied up once again.
And with that 5-on-3 and no openings found on the top floor, RTV realizing that, they just wait for S2 to enter the building and they just take the one for once, simply put it, because sure, you have a guy cutting that top floor in half essentially on that window rappel, but BGL still has to hop in to Geisha with no other help, and the guy from top black still has to walk in with basically no help. And with RTV having a man advantage, they could just simply play like, 2v1 rock, paper, scissors and win that, 2 out of the 1 times basically. So things evened up now after a pretty solid start in the entry department, and then just keeping things simple for that roam extension. Now could allow RTV to maybe, bring back match point, but their track record on T room in terms of defending it has been really poor with the way S2 have been attacking.
Yeah, 2 rounds lost. They're 0 for 2.
I mean, yeah, just not a good number.
RealityTV, I'm looking at Valor. We'll see if he dies instantly trying to hold top black again.
10 seconds to insertion.
It's not been a fun time. Giddy's on Cade though, that's different rather than the Bandit. Again, cheeky little Electro Claw to stop anyone breaching that VIP single. Wait,
I think that
is it electrified? Did it miss?
Well, either way, there's no EMPs for it. I think the reason why they brought it now is they're like, okay, it's been a couple rounds. S2 will not expect us to do it. And I guess no one droned out that they had a Cade, because Solus has been active a good chunk of rounds. So not a bad idea to make that last second change up there for RTV. And yeah, S2, they might have a lot more trouble getting that single wall opened up now, even if one of the 2 K claws just missed, because again, Giddy has 2 of them.
Yeah, Amp is understandably concerned about the wall. You can see him just kind of chilling right outside of it. Nade goes up, but it does not find the Electro Claw. Moral Midas start to come out too. They've at least opened the office wall. Hat will challenge the opening. Roteros start to come in. I'm probably searching for the Electro Claw. Don't know if it got it. And Mr. B is just going to challenge Wi-Fi downstairs. Wi-Fi gets smoked. You lose an important set of nades to Mr. B. Finally, the Selma goes down on the VIP wall. Or sorry, not the VIP wall, on that bar wall. But Mr. B is still swinging. Bio the next to die. You've lost the remainder of your Selmas. VIP wall isn't even open. And S2 trail by 2 bodies.
And a major way for Mr. B to select those isolated gunfights too, seeing someone on that Rotero drone, expecting another person to be outside. So you can probably go for a 50-50 gunfight and take that pretty well, all things considered. And he does it twice, then killing the ace as well. Really well done, and then getting out for free, keeping that 5-on-3 completely locked in for RTV in this last minute 10, as S2 are just scrambling to find any kills with the help of these grenades, or at the very least just breaking that deployable shield. Good coordination there between both Amp and the Iana playing underneath to at least net 1 for your troubles, but it's still a very tall hill to climb up from this point.
Especially with your Iana now really low and dead by Giddy, you've lost any main stairs pressure. Mr. B is holding on to Drum and looking for more. He's 13-7, make it 14. A triple kill for the IGL of Reality TV, leaving BJL alone in a 1v4. And the shotgun will one-pump him and put him down. 5-5, now 6-5 for Reality TV. They're bringing things back. They put themselves on map and match point, John. Do you think they can do it in regulation?
Say S2 might go for a timeout here. Never mind. I was going to say, if there's a timeout here by S2, we might see overtime because you're expecting Office to be in play. RTV just won Barbecue and Kitchen, and then T a moment ago. So I feel like you give a lot of good info for what you want to do for this last site, potentially. But no, okay. There's a really good chance RTV might take this matchup in regulation, perhaps. I definitely have to go along that way of thinking. And especially the way that RTV have been playing these last 2 rounds, it just seems like they're a lot more laid back in what they're expecting. You've got Mr. B, who has said a couple times where it's like, if he dies, it's not a big deal because he's on ops like Jaeger, and he's not one of like the main fraggers who you were expecting to pop off. So he can just be on cams and just IGL for the rest of his teammates. So when you have that person who simply doesn't care if they die or not, net like 1 to 2 kills per round, I mean, that's an instant upgrade from what you're expecting to go into from that round. So Mr. B specifically popping off this well, that immediately correlates with how well RTV have been doing in those past 2 rounds. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially with him, you know, again, I'm going to bring up past stats on Chalet going 6-7, on Bank going 8-9. It was never bad, but it was never this good. Mr. B definitely the standout in this map, the final map too. Look at S2 Esports. They don't really have that player who's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And sometimes that's really good, right? Sometimes it just means your entire team is contributing. Sometimes it means that there's no one guy who's going to be able to shut Mr. B down. And it might be the case here. It's a little bit worrying. They have the Thatcher, so they're able to get VIP wall open really early. It only took them about 30 seconds. Disabled all the only battery protecting it. We've also got Reverse sitting on this Amaru. They might go for the hatch play again. I don't know. It didn't... I mean, it kind of worked last time. But I don't know if that's a risk that I'd want to take again.
Especially when, again, our RTV, they're just going to expect something like that. We saw the Amaru play last time on Bank. That failed. The Amaru wasn't like the win condition for S2 last time they brought it out as well, so definitely seems a little questionable, but maybe in general just having someone be on that lurk role besides BJL could just be a good idea in general. And the G8, definitely no slouch of a weapon, but for RTV, I think they're realizing it's going to be the same attacking strat by S2 that they saw a moment ago, so they should theoretically be able to set up pretty well to stop the Thermite from getting in and playing that diffuser, even if, you know, Reverse can be playing underneath and not having to, you know, challenge any defenders from that position.
They're picking off a lot of the drones early on. Look, there's only 4 left with 1:20 remaining for S2. And Reality TV are spread apart pretty decently. I'm wondering what S2's play is. At least be able to get the opening kill. Mr. B on Warden, the big player for Reality TV. First dead thanks to Wi-Fi lurking underneath, and I think having some floor holes. So there is an opening. Is it enough of one, though? More drones coming into the site, spotting the alibi of Tristan. Lurking behind the bar. Flashes at the ready from the Amaru, maybe trying to get the Nook into sight first? And then as the Nook is causing some chaos, then have the Amaru act on that. He's going to hit Tristan in the face with a stun before killing him. Up comes the grappling hook. Into the site is the attack. Amp going to be the first attacker to fall, but all the trades are there and nobody on the defense survives. S2 Esports flawless with that Amaru execute. Beautiful bottom-up play and will be in overtime.
And for RTV, there was just no response on that first floor. There was, no one immediately there to stop S2 from entering the building. So you had 3 people already with not even 30 to 40 seconds burn off the timer getting set up towards bottom house stairs, set up inside of, master bedroom and the bathroom hallway as well. Not only that, but then in the late round, no one was contesting them whatsoever to try to stop them from getting those vertical positions, from stopping them to get those grenade kills as well. So that nets Wi-Fi a free entry onto Mr. B, one of the people who could probably, challenge people a lot easier with the help of that C4 and the smart glasses, where there were a lot of stun grenades being used to create space. The Warden would have been a good counter to that, but he's already dead. S2, despite not changing their general outlook on what they want to achieve that round, just by coordinating a bit better and realizing RTV weren't roaming a lot in that round, it allowed them to still thrive with that Amaru play.
This is scary. Scary for Reality TV's chances. It's been 2 4-2 attacking halves, John, and Reality TV starting on the defense. Mind you, they chose to start on the defense in overtime. That could be a decision that comes back to haunt them should S2 Esports continue their attacking dominance. T is a site that Reality TV in the later stages finally were able to figure out, but it was also off the back of a Mr. B 3K. Still worried about people clearing over towards office and exhibition. That's where Wi-Fi initially had tried to come up and died to, I think it was Hat really early on. But doesn't look like S2 Esports are putting any faith in this clear. I mean, it hasn't worked, so why do it again? Just like they're going to be completely preoccupied with Geisha and Blackstairs.
So far, no one at that black doorway, though, so Smoke could get a bit more aggressive. Nade's going to get tossed out. It does a whopping amount of damage on a Valor, but he just sits a little bit farther back, really making sure that Reverse cannot get a free opening kill. But he is being forced into just a corner, praying that no one else is here to back him up. And if he tries to rotate there, too, Reverse has got his number still. Rotero drone, so that gets rid of a lot of safeties that the Smoke should have had, but it's actually too far away from the shield unless it was meant to break other utility instead.
I think it was supposed to break the shield, and he just pulled the trigger a little too quickly, but here comes another nade. This should be the killer, but Valor gets away thanks to Almightis. Valor walks up, shotguns reverse, he gets away with it this time! Looking for more, there's a flash with his name on it, but he's able to gas his own escape, and now he's sitting on the stairs, not exposing himself to Amp. This hasn't worked, like, twice? 3 times? He'll finally get forced up thanks to the Rotero drone. No, wait, he goes down? He presses the issue? He's still trying to shotgun away. Another Rotero drone comes in. He's finally going to die, but he wastes 2 minutes and gets a kill.
What a martyr play by Valor, and with only 60 seconds to go, S2, they haven't accomplished much with those grenades or even just the general clear, and they still have to commit to this play.
What? But BJL just walks upstairs and gets 2? He may have just single-handedly won the round. A third for BJL. Valor's martyrdom all for naught. Wi-Fi through the hatch. S2 Esports with round number 13. They are 1 away from the upset.
And how was RTV not expecting that? Like, BGL just walked up for free. What, was there no one there in karaoke to help assist? I'm really starstruck. Because With the small mistake of S2 not having anyone immediately there by Black Door, that did allow Valor to get aggressive and win that 1v1. So already, more than what he bargained for. He should have been dead there from the rip. So getting a kill before he dies as well, and then wasting several grenades, flashes, and Rotero drones, that's massive. S2, though, they realize, well, we got to just hope for the best, execute, and maybe we'll win our ones. And BGL just went above and beyond with that AR-33. I mean, I'm really shocked that RTV were just not fully anticipating a Black Stairs walk-up, because there was no other attack point that they had in that round.
Yeah, and two lining up for BJL. Really unlucky for RealityTV. The amount of time Valor wasted, I thought might be enough to win the round, but his sacrifice went just unanswered by the rest of his team. At the very least, S2 Esports, you know, they have the defense now. RealityTV are on the attack. This is typically the advantageous side. You know, the attack is now, what, 9-4, I think, is the total attacking defending record on this map. S2 Esports roaming all the way towards Office, Exhibition, VIP, like they always do. They got the Cade on the VIP walls. This time Reverse is playing Legion instead of Solace, which is an interesting decision.
I think just being able to gather more info throughout the whole round and slowing down RTV, definitely not a bad option. Although, again, Solace can gather a lot of good information, at least to stop some of those drones. And we have seen a few, small plays happen where you can utilize Solace's gadget, hop out, maybe work a pick. It just might be more comfort that T5, and again, just a little bit more info for everyone, not just yourself or Solace for the time being. RTV looking to start out with that office over clear once again, just gathering a bit more information before they make that call to get the single wall opened up. And they do have Hat from the Thatcher, so he can do that job. But for right now, he's focusing on Geisha first and foremost, as that has been the bigger aspect of successful round attacks for RTV when dealing with T has been that Geisha presence.
Yeah, they get it open pretty easily and pretty quickly. About a minute down now, not a lot of utility, just a couple EMPs being used. Giddy with no more nades, though. So the only ones they have left are in the back pocket of Tristan. Drone comes into Geisha, spots Amp sitting behind the luggage. Another drone comes in and spots the Jaeger and Drum, so we can't forget about the split push that RealityTV might try to have with a couple working terrace now. The bar wall getting opened, Reverse getting aggressive. He'll get droned out, so no opportunity for a run out just yet, but with his office wall reinforced, he can stay pretty safe, and RealityTV are going to be pressed for time pretty soon without any additional hard breach. Mr. B, though, rotating over, he'll probably be the one to open up that office wall, I have to imagine. He's not rotating over there just yet. In fact, Giddy just walks on in and dies. Luckily, Tristan's there to get the refrag, but the clear from RealityTV has been slow.
And both of those defenders had a potential fallback, Reverse with the impact grenade on a hatch, and then also BGL just playing a bit closer towards that dragon position, still finding one kill and wasting all that time and a whole set of nades, like you mentioned, Harrison, is a huge bonus for S2, as they're expecting, for the most part, that Geisha attack towards the late round and some people transitioning back over to Terrace and Shrine, like we've seen several times by RTV, and they still have all the right pieces of utility to slow down, or at the very least, shut out RTV, sorry.
But now they don't have the Geisha presence that they usually have on this attack. Almost everyone except Valor, I think, is pushing from Drum side. BJL's going to get aggressive, even though Valor's standing in Geisha, but he's not taking the angle. Wi-Fi sitting on those main stairs, cutting the door. Mr. B dies to BJL as he tries to walk in and help Valor. The time is so low. This match could be over. Tristan's trying to make a stand, though. So is Hat. Down goes the Thermite. 3 kills for BJL. Bio chimes in. Hat's got to do it, but he misses, and BJL with the revolver wins it. S2, they get the upset against RealityTV and join Oxygen as our only playoff team so far.
What a major underdog story for S2, almost being completely flawless towards this Swiss stage here at SCS. A single map loss against RTV, and on one of their best maps altogether of Bank. You really can't fault them for that, and they still kept a close game against RTV, punishing them for the mistakes that they made. The overcompensation over towards Geisha, it left a lot more to be desired from towards that side of the map, leading into office room and house, and it allowed more damage to be done from that point of the map. wasted so much time, so many resources, and as well with S2 adapting, expecting a presence to be over by Geisha, they just kind of ignored it and focused on the rest of the map as well. And that was the right call to make, to guarantee that they proceed past the winners round and just get themselves set up in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was a crazy game from S2, and they just continue to impress time and time again. RealityTV, I have to say, were poised to win the whole map. It really looked like they were going to, especially that attacking half that they won 4-2. They could have gone 6-0 had they just been a little bit better. And S2 pulled it back. I also got a question, the decision to start on defense for RealityTV in overtime. Sure, they lost one of their attacking rounds, but with an 8-4 attacking split heading into OT, gotta raise a question if maybe that decision bit them. Otherwise, S2, their usage of the Nook was great, thanks to BJL. We gotta highlight BJL too. I think finishing
For sure.
with what, like 16 or 17 kills, something like that. It was, it seemed like every time S2 may have been out of the round, BJL ended up like winning it.
Yeah, he really powered up. He was just the foundation of how you saw some of those rounds that could have maybe been a guarantee for RTV all of a sudden just turn 50-50 and then turn an advantage for BGL. He did such a good job of just taking 1-for-1s at really good times, or not even just 1v1s, but even 2v1s with his teammates. He was assisting people on the roam. He was, actively setting himself up in positions where he wouldn't be vulnerable to crossfires. He was just playing good Siege. And that's all that, S2 really needed towards the end of that last map to really put the final nail in the coffin against RTV. That's just the simplistic way of putting it.
Yeah, and S2, now we know, if Reverse isn't going to step up, then BJL is here to stay. He and Amp too. That was BJL's map, but Amp definitely having a hell of a performance. Map number 1, especially, and in this map that S2 were able to claw away in overtime. I mean, all around, it seemed like more of S2 was there than RealityTV. The coordination and team play that we know RealityTV for just kind of started to slip away. It looked like the more Skyscraper went on, especially on their defenses, S2 dismantled them pretty handedly. And then that last attack, like you said, S2's call to peel back to site that early on really ended up winning them the round. BJL, 16-8. A hell of a performance from him. Mr. B, Tristan, and Hat, all hitting those triple digits. But again, kills aren't the whole story in Siege. You got S2 kind of firing on all cylinders, and I gotta say the communication and timing from S2, I think, was what really ended up allowing them to eke out that win.
Yeah, a good example again of coordination and just general timing is dealing with Valor 2 out of the 3 times, because you had that one goofy round where Valor just gets past the guy Black and then ends up killing Reverse. But the other 2 moments before that, you had an Osa or a Thermite there almost immediately, so that way your nade player starts, tossing them up above, getting vertical down, and trying to force away Valor. He has nowhere safe to run, because that player on Black Door can either kill him when he's rotating back into sight, or killing him when he wants to get aggressive closer towards that barbed wire. So that was a really well done performance by S2 altogether, and like we've both mentioned, they were very deserving of this one.
Absolutely. And to talk to the man at the center of it all, we have the interview set up with Biologic, S2's resident IGL. Bio, congratulations on the win. None of us I don't know if you saw it, none of us on production voted for you guys. And I guess the curse struck again, because you out IGL'd Mr. B pretty successfully.
I wouldn't say out IGL. I think that was a pretty good game, going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
I think the only thing that going into, I think I kind of might have outbanned them, because I know they have a lot of things going on, so I know they couldn't play to their full potential and get a lot of practice. So I know Chalet they don't really play, so that was less I felt like it was pretty good. We threw some rounds. Bank was really fun because we just couldn't really get any of the attacks going, especially execution stuff. And then the rush, I think Valor knows the rush, so he was just chilling there. So I don't know what that guy's doing, but Skyscraper, that was I don't know, it was just a pretty good match. Well, playing it, I don't know how it was watching. But
Oh no, yeah. Well, I mean, close games like that are always a blast to cast. Yeah, you know, speaking about Skyscraper, because you know, Chalet, your map pick, you always expect to win your map pick and then win map number 3. So talking about Sky, you know, Sky, very new map in the pool. I know a lot of like young players aren't necessarily too comfortable with it, but it looked like BJL and Amp, especially BJL, were right at home.
well, I mean, I'll just give away the map pool. I'll just say this: like, these guys have no idea how to play the old maps, but they love the new maps.
Really?
It's kind of crazy. So, like, definitely like different things for me because I like all the maps but one. I won't tell which one. I think one map should be removed, but I like all the maps but one. But like these guys literally like every map but like the old map. So like playing Sky, like they love it. Like plus they know like me, Reverse, Wi-Fi, and Amp like all have a way to play it, and we all like it kind of like aligned. BJ just fits in and he just goes with the flow. So it kind of works out because we all have like the same play styles for it.
Yeah, it was really nice seeing BJL and Amp step up today too, with Reverse kind of taking more of a backseat, and those guys were lagging behind your first couple games. So really cool to see them have really big games. And we, you know, speaking about bans, if we want to take a look at the op bans, you guys banned Dokkaebi all 3 maps. That's something we almost never see. Was that a target ban specifically for RealityTV?
It's actually because of the way the game is now. Because like I don't know if they did it, but there's no point to ban Knock anymore because of Solus. And when you look at like attacker bans, there's nothing really that's like too crazy because we don't have really like footage. We don't really have an analyst, so we don't know like what they pick all the time. But so the most like the most OP character on attack right now is Dokkaebi because the calls, like the ringing, and also because if you're dead you can't play cams. So like I know
that was a big change.
I know for a fact that if they want to do an execute, they can call, other dead people can play cams, and then like you just hit sight. So there's really like right now, if you don't really know what to ban against the team, like Dokkaebi is like a safe pick. If you're banning Knock, then you just don't really know what's the new update because like unless the other team lets an attacker goes through and then they ban Solus, so you can't like do anything, and then you can run the Knock. But when you have Solus, that's why one of the reasons why BJL couldn't play a Lion, because I don't know if it's a bug now or something, but if you're a Lion, Solus can see you like almost all the time. So
really, like you can see like the wrist thing that Lion uses?
So you can like see him.
That's
so I don't know
crazy.
if it's a bug, but you can see him like all the time, so you can't play Lion. So that's why on Chalet BJ I was just saying like, yo, you just got to play like, I don't know, like IQ to hunt him or Twitch or something. But yeah,
that's
Solus
crazy.
is really strong.
I know that that's the same thing with like Blitz, like when you have his shield out, like Solus can just see you all the time. So I mean, talking about Solus, you know, I talked to I think it was Newers yesterday, because Foxay was playing Solus tremendously well on Chalet. I mean, is she, do you agree that she's probably like borderline busted right now?
She's not busted. It depends on how you use it. So like there's teams, so I'll give an instance like SSG, right? SSG plays a style where they don't really like put any drones in the building. They might have 2 like rat drones. I call them like the Fultz drones, like little rat drones around the map. But other than that, other teams like to put pre-place drones now. But if you Solus is in the game, you can't put pre-place because he'll find every single one of your pre-place. You just call out to others. And then also, I don't know if you guys saw when we were attacking, like they're impacting drones outside. So like you can't, so now it's harder for attackers to like get free map control. Because like one round, Reverse took a Mario and he's gonna go in the window on Skyscraper, the karaoke one. I'm pretty sure Solus was over there. He found the drone, so Reverse couldn't do that. So we had to like change. So definitely is gonna make like teams that like to get in the building quick off pre-place, make them like the risk if you want to do it or not. So it's definitely like different. It is kind of like, if it's broken if you use it right. Because it's kind of funny when all the content creators did that and they were saying, oh, Solus isn't good. And then like all the pros were like, hold up, like that guy can do a lot, like more than just like stopping plants. Like everyone wants to say like stop plants, but it's all about like droning. Like NA especially, we kind of like live by the drones, and like other regions kind of just like frag and like go crazy. But NA especially, Solus is pretty good.
It's kind of like the whole like why Mozzie Meadow is so powerful. It's all that info denial you have at your fingertips. And something I noticed about the difference between the Solus play yesterday and today is right when Fox was playing Solus on Chalet, he was always kind of in like a centralized location where the rest of his team was either like supporting the roam or down on site using the verticality of those Solus. But I noticed you guys and RealityTV, but especially you guys like with Reverse, the Solus would kind of be more on like a solo lurk. What's kind of the philosophy with that?
Well, so like everything is about like info. A lot of teams don't really take anything without info. So if you know like there's drone, like It was on Geisha. We were trying to hop out. One of the rounds we hopped out on the guy because we knew there was one guy over there droning, but we did obviously the Solus thing. We don't know how many people are over there, so one round we just risked it. But I'm pretty sure they kept sending a guy like Geisha. If we were off, office, they kept having a guy lurk there. So Reverse was gonna try to hop out on this guy, but he never. That guy was never droning. It was someone else droning for him, so we couldn't like.
Oh
find
yeah, when
him.
he was on, when he was on the floor.
So
yeah.
like Solus is good at finding like those people who are lurking, like solo droning themselves, or just like the Nox. But I know some people want to play it strictly for plant, but you don't like have to. Reverse actually got mad one round because I told him to come back to site because he wanted to play below to like Solus. But the thing is like we need help site, so there's no like you're not gonna clutch a 1v5, 1v4. Even though I think BJ someone clutched like a 1v4 or something, but like you're not gonna help like do that. You might as well just like help us in site, you know. So. Yeah, but Solus he's pretty good. He probably won't be changed, but he's pretty good.
Yeah,
Hope they
Solus,
don't change
I
him,
think
though.
is. Me too. Yeah, Solus has been exciting. I think just as exciting as like the advent of a zombie. But Bio, thank you very much for talking and actually emphasizing and elaborating stuff, which is more than a lot of players do in the interview. So I definitely appreciate that. And congrats on the win. I mean, that was huge over Reality TV. You guys now as a T3 team are joining OXG as our only playoffs contender. So enjoy the break. Ferme, he'll have a schedule for you. Again, congrats and have a great night.
Hey, have a good night.
And there you have it. That was nice to hear, like all the ins and outs of what Bio thinks about those operators and stuff.
Pretty consistent.
cool.
That too.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much does it for us though.
All the other people doing interviews, take notes. Those are the kinds of answers that I want when I ask you stuff. I don't want to hear, yeah, Solus is good. Yeah, she's nice drones. I hate that. Take notes. Anyway, shout out Bio and Mr. B has good interviews too. Bio and Mr. B, I think have been, and Fox. Those three have been the best interviews so far.
It's like a win-win either way, depending on like who we got to interview today, because it both would have been pretty good for S2 or RTV. But I believe that does wrap it up for us, Harrison, doesn't it?
It
right?
does.
Yeah.
Yep. There's one more game after this, but it's not us casting. Instead, it is Sticula and Light Rose, and they get the Thunderdome match, which is Collegiate Connoisseurs versus EQV4. I said it yesterday. Today, both games are going to be really good for two very different reasons, right? Reality TV versus S2, great siege all around. S2 were definitely the better team. And I think the second game is going to be a contest of who the worst team is. So all I can guarantee you is that it's going to be pretty funny. So that's it for John and I. Thank you very much for watching, sticking through these 3 maps. Do not go anywhere. We'll have the losers match, and we'll say goodbye to a team just after this break.